But the only point is that we all go through tragedies in our life. We all have stories. We all have tragic stories. I have mine. Rachel has hers. I didn't bring that up to mock her. I didn't bring that up to try to get her to break down. While Andrew Wilson, who was sitting there, was having an aneurysm. Oh my God, how could you bring that up? But if you actually took the time to listen to my words and what I was trying to say, I was trying to make the case. Unfortunately, we both have tragedies in our lives.
Brian returned to the Pushing the Limit show today, his triumphant return, ready to spill the beans and give his thoughts on the whole debate. Now, listen, did Brian Shapiro come on here and say, listen, guys, listen, I want to apologize for my poor behavior. I think I did terribly. And by the way, me bringing up the tragedy that the Wilsons have gone through is totally pathetic and classless on my part, completely tasteless and borderline psychotic. And for that, I apologize to both the Wilsons. And if they never want to forgive me or talk to me again, I completely understand. Do you think that Brian said that? Or do you think that he doubled down on everything? Well, spoiler alert, he doubled down on everything.
Only are they...
By the way, he showed that he learned nothing. It's like this guy doesn't listen. He doesn't learn. Like it's like he had this debate with Rachel and learned nothing.
Great friends of mine, and they're really wonderful people. But they also did a great job filling in for me, so I'm very appreciative to them. It's great to be back, man. Every single time I leave Las Vegas, like within hours, I miss it because it's such a convenient town, and I love it, and this is the town I call my home. So anyway, it's good to be back, everybody. We got a lot to talk about. I was featured on CNN yesterday. We'll talk a little.
Immediately with his, I was on CNN. Just add that to the list of things that I can name drop now. Add that to the Michael Knowles, the Jack Posobics, the Piers Morgans, Tim Pools. Now you could add CNN to the list of accomplishments that I'm always going to bring up no matter what conversation I'm having.
A little bit about that with the Un-F America tour and what they're trying to do and me going to Turning Point with them. And so that was really cool. We'll get to that a little bit later on the show. Man, it's been a crazy week. I did Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan.
If memory serves me right, I taped it
Bryce
on
Shapp
Monday.
bingo card. The Bryce Shapp bingo card already. Piers Morgan.
Aired the episode on Tuesday, I believe. So we're going to play some of that appearance with Piers Morgan where I debated McGinnis and Chris Rufo. McGinnis is like the VP of the Proud Boys. So it got a little bit heated, I'll be honest with you. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. The reason why I was in North Carolina is because Uncensored America, which is a right-wing group, Uncensored America, let's call it for what it is. The two groups of people that work with Uncensored America are the Wilsons, Andrew Wilson and Rachel Wilson, and Myron Gaines. So I knew going in there, this was a right-wing group. So they had called me a few months ago, maybe a month and a half ago, something like that. And they asked me if I wanted to debate Rachel Wilson. And I said, I mean, not really. And then I said, what are you going to offer me? And they said, well, we'll pay for your hotel. We'll pay for your airfare. I said, I'm going to need to get paid money. They agreed. We agreed on an amount of money that they paid me. And that's really the only reason why I did it, to be honest with you. And we're going to go through some of the debate, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it.
So what's funny is that throughout this whole thing, he keeps coping and saying, the only reason I did it was because they paid me. But then he tries to pretend like he's some good guy. Like, yeah, I wanted to shake their hands before the show, but they refused. I was willing to be civil and cordial and hang out with them and stuff. But then he would, on the other side of his mouth, say like, but I was only doing it because I was paid. Well, you're not really like this, like, you're not a good person if you're just doing it because you're getting paid. Yeah, I was being nice because I was getting paid to be nice. Like, that's not the flex you think it is, Brian.
And go through what happened before the debate, what happened after the debate, and everything in between. But before I do that, over the course of the last, 2 or 3 years, as this show has become more popular, and I'm very humbled by that, and I love doing it every day, and I love the listenership and the PTL family. And I'm sorry I haven't been here the last 3 days. I promise you, I'm going to do a better job of trying to stay in town. And if I'm going to do debates, I'm going to try to do them remotely, because quite frankly, I'm getting old and it takes a lot out of me to travel. But as the show has become more popular and I do more national shows, I've been on, four national networks here in the last week, talking about a number.
Man, we're not even 5 minutes in, and already he's name dropped so much. I was on CNN. I was on Piers Morgan. I've been doing so many appearances. Oh man.
Of different issues. As that happens, I get more people that want to set up debates with me. Never have I ever claimed or said that I was a professional debater. Never did I ever claim that was my job.
That's a lie. Okay, listen, yeah, he's never claimed it was his job, but when the first time he debated Andrew, he was going on and like, I've been debating for 20 years. I don't need a moderator. Like, that was one of his gripes, was that they had a moderator. They had, Jake moderating. That was one of his gripes. I don't need a moderator. I've been doing this for 20 years. Who needs a moderator? I could do without a moderator. So yes, he has bragged that he's been doing debates for all these years. Piers Morgan. So that's a lie.
My job, which is not their job.
That's a cope.
But it's my job, and it's something I've been doing for a long time, and it's my bread and butter, is to do a news talk show and talk about the news of the day, cover the news of the day or the week, give my commentary on it. That's what I do for a living. And that's what I've been doing for a living for a very long time. Doesn't mean I'm afraid of debate. And obviously, sometimes when I get guests to come on this show, as you know, it could be Caroline Levitt. She's done this show before. It could be Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Vivek Ramaswamy. Anybody who knows me knows I've had a lot of people on the right that have done this show. It starts with an interview. Sometimes some of these interviews turn into debates, but I'm not the kind of person that spends my life begging for people to debate me and then do these long form debates. I've had a few of those over the course of the last several months. People have asked me, like, for example, I've debated Andrew Wilson a couple times. I think once or twice on this show, and then a couple times off the show. So I've done a couple of those debates, but that's not my bread and butter. That's not what I do. Is I talk about the news of the day and the news of the week. And unfortunately, some of these people don't want to have those debates. So I've never called myself a feminist. I don't think I've ever talked about feminism on this show ever. Now, I've talked about, transgender issues and, maybe a few things that could entail feminism. In fact, I've even gone the other way, and I've said sometimes women ask for too much. Example, the WNBA. I've talked about that on this show. And I think WNBA basketball players asking for the same money as NBA players is insane. So, I've had differences of
Well, Brian, you think that them wanting the same amount of money as the men is insane? Well, I think that's despicable of you, Brian. How dare you? I think you're a despicable, disgusting human being. Who says something like that?
Opinion on this a lot. Anyway, I digress. So I fly out there to North Carolina, and I forgot this guy's name, and I think, Henry. A guy who I think is with Uncensored America, who goes to school at University of North Carolina, Wilmington, could not have been nicer. He was really nice. He gave me a ride to the hotel. He gave me great advice on what to do in the city. Really nice guy. I certainly have nothing bad to say about him.
So basically, he tells people he wants an interview, then starts debating them. Pretty much. That's usually what happens. He'll have guests on, and if they're left wingers, he'll be very nice to them. He won't challenge them or push back on them at all. In fact, he'll kiss their asses, like when he had Don Lemon and Destiny on. He'll like kiss their asses, act like they're best buds. But then when it's like someone that's not on the left, it could be like Warren Smith, Caroline Levitt, Vivek Ramaswamy. Well, then he'll like start debating them, and then he'll start pushing back and stuff. It really just depends on what side of the political aisle they're on.
I'm really cool. So I get to the hotel. Then the next day I went to the beach a little bit because as anyone could look at my skin, I need some sun. That's for sure. I'm Casper the Friendly Ghost. I'll be the first one to admit that. Okay. All right. So then it's time for me to go to the debate. So I get there about an hour or so before the debate.
How's it going, Rachel? Yes, we are enjoying some glorious cope.
and I meet two people that were in charge that I've been talking to, putting the debate together. One of the guys' names is Sean. He's with Uncensored America. And the other guy's name is James, who I think is with Modern Day Debate. And I met both of them in the green room. And the way it was set up is that I was in one green room with my manager, who came along, who I'm very grateful for.
Well, I don't think she was grateful to be there. I listened to Andrew's stream earlier where the manager was like face palming the whole, like pretty much the whole time because of how much of an idiot Brian was looking like.
And in the other green room, in the other room, and you could pretty much hear them in the other room, were the Wilsons. So anyway, the organizers of the event come in, and I'm the one who says, "Hey, listen, man, I know we've had our differences. You know, if they want me in there to shake their hands and say hello, I'm happy to be cordial and professional. If they want to come in here, let them know I'm totally cool with that, because I'm getting paid to do a debate. It's really the only reason why I went. But I was happy to be professional and cordial. They immediately declined, and
See, I'm a good guy. See, I'm nice to you if you pay me to be nice to you. Aren't I a good guy?
told no. They don't want to shake my hand. They don't want to say hello. So I'm like, okay, doesn't surprise me at all. And that was also mentioned in the debate, by the way. I was trying to be cordial. I was trying to be professional, but okay, no big deal.
Thank you very much, Eric, for the $5. Hey, Vic, do you recall that what episode he asked Rob to him? No, I don't remember the exact episode, but I'm pretty sure I could find it. I'm pretty sure if you go to my coverage of it, because I link the original videos in the description, I'm pretty sure the original is linked there. So just go and look it up on my channel. When did that happen, by the way? It was like what, January, February, December, like around that time. So yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I could look it up, but thank you very much, Eric.
So the debate starts, and my whole objective in this entire discussion on feminism was basically, I don't want to tell other people what to do with their lives. I don't tell, and if you want to call me a feminist because I think women should have equal rights, then I guess go ahead and call me a feminist. No one's ever really called me that before, but that's really my whole thing is I don't want to tell other people how to live their life. Now, Rachel Wilson wrote a book about this, and she talks about all
But
the
she didn't
behaviors
read.
of women.
Well, I love that Rachel called him on that. It's like, oh yeah, you asked Grok to give you like the cliff notes here, because yeah, he didn't read that. He even admitted he's like, I ain't gonna read her stupid book. So yeah, ain't no way he read it at all.
I knew going into this that Rachel doesn't think women should vote. We'll get to that. If there's one thing that I can't stand in life, not just politics, right? It's hypocrisy. And Rachel had just given a bunch of studies of women and their human behavior.
Him saying that he hates hypocrisy is in itself hypocritical because he is the biggest hypocrite.
And you could watch the whole debate. You could see it for yourself. She started off by talking about statistics and data of why women shouldn't be doing this, this, and this because it's bad for the family nucleus. It's bad for society. It's bad for kids. And she talked about abuse, and she gave out those statistics. And then I decided to talk about her personal behavior and see if she would take any personal responsibility for the way that she has lived her life. Watch this.
And you know what's great about this Cope stream is that he shows clips from this debate, but since he did so terribly, he just looks terrible in every clip. So it's just like how he showed the cartoon on his own radio show to his gazillion listeners, or however much he says he has. He's showing these clips to his audience where he just looks like a complete jackass. And believe it or not, he does have a few fans because all Brian's fans are just TDS Trump haters just like him. That's all they are. They're not like hardcore. Oh, I like Brian because I like Brian. It's more like, oh yeah, the guy that tells me how much Trump is horrible. I also agree Trump is horrible. Therefore, I like Brian because he's telling me Trump is horrible. So they think that Brian looks good because they're fellow TDS sufferers like him. But man, like there is a lot of people in the chat where there is just like, why are you showing this on your own show?
As well, we will jump into the rebuttals. These are 5 minutes as well. Brian, I've got the timer set for you. The floor is all yours.
The word would be hypocrisy. Rachel just talked about
Hypocrisy.
abuse, divorce. I want to be very clear with what I'm about to say. It is normally not my business.
Yeah, you know, whenever they start off with, it's usually not my business, they're going to say something that's definitely not their business, and they're going to talk about it anyway.
Talk about how many children you have, how many ex-husbands you have. But when you have somebody to my left who wants to tell other women how to live their lives, I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to bring up some studies. Now, Rachel has 3 baby daddies. Why is that important? Well, Guzzo and Hirschberg's study says that if you do have multiple baby daddies, family has higher stress, more likely to have more mental health issues, the things that you claim that you care so much about. I do as well. The Dorius study, lower income and families most likely in children have a lower education rate.
Thank you very much, Eric, for the $5. It's the 19-minute spurging one, right? Don't mean to derail. Just catching my friend up on all of this. Surprisingly, no, that was a different one. The 19-minute spurg out was a completely different time. Yeah, him asking to see Rob's was a completely separate show. There's a reason why Brian doesn't call into Rob's show anymore, because he made himself look like a jack every time he called in. And I think the 19-minute spurg out was like, that was his last straw. He's like, all right, I can't do this anymore. I just look too much like a moron. But they can, or maybe his manager told him to knock it off. Hey, Brian, why don't you knock it off? You look too much like a idiot. I wouldn't be surprised, because Brian in this Cope stream like says how he's like, yeah, I'm going to cut back down on traveling and doing these live debates. And if I do debate, it's going to be remote. I'm pretty sure his manager told him something. I'm pretty sure his manager's like, Brian, that was horrible. You should stop. Thank you very much, Eric Johnson, for gifting 1 Cool Vic membership. And congratulations, Michael Scarn, on becoming a new member to the Coolverse.
The Rutgers study, you just talked about physical violence. The Rutgers study, which, by the way, these studies have just come out in the last couple of years. You could look it up if you would like on your phone. By the way, you want to go back to 50 years or 100 years ago, then why do you use a cell phone? I'm just curious.
Why do you use a cell phone?
You can laugh, but if you want to go back to the way things were 50 or 100 years ago, we were a slavery nation. Are we still a slavery nation now? Do you want
50 years ago, we were a slavery nation. He just has all kinds of he just says a whole bunch of stupid things during this debate. The women's suffrage thing. I don't want to see women suffer. And then calling himself a woman. There's just all sorts of gaffes that he made. And he's showing this to his own audience here. By the way, he addresses this and he denies. He's like, I didn't say that slavery was 50 years ago. This is what I really meant. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of cope in this stream. Thank you very much, Eric Goss, for the New Zealand 5. So Brian thinks it's hypocrisy for someone to tell someone, don't make the mistakes I did. Yeah, it's not even just Brian. All these lefties do that. It's so stupid. It's like so dumb. It's like, oh, okay. And then like, people have confronted Brian about that before. It's like, oh, okay, so someone used to be a drug addict and they tell someone, yeah, don't do drugs. And he goes, well, that's different. How dare you compare that to drugs? But it's like, well, how is it different? That's all Rachel and Andrew are doing. They're trying to like help society and they're trying to help people, but going toward this better direction. That's not what we have now, which is this degeneracy, these mutilation of the kids, the of the unborn. Like, it's a sad state right now, and all they're doing is just trying to help push it in a better way forward, where we're having kids again, we're making family important again, encouraging women to have children younger again. Like, what's so bad about any of these things? There's nothing wrong about it at all. It'll be like if someone was going around saying, hey guys, like, go out and exercise and eat right, and then you have an idiot like Brian here being like, well, why are you trying to tell people what to do? Didn't you used to be fat? Huh? Didn't you used to be fat? And it's like, well, what? Even if we were fat, like, what? Why is it wrong to tell people to exercise and be healthy?
You want to go back to slavery? Should black people be allowed to vote? I'd love you to answer those questions. But anyway, going back to that Rutgers study, if you have multiple baby daddies, there's a much higher rate. In fact, a 24% higher risk of physical violence and sex abuse. A Halpern study. Among other studies, you're likely to be below the poverty line if you have multiple baby daddies. Now, you might tell me right now, and I would believe you, if you said, I got through it. My kids grew up to be great people. And I would say, I'm happy for you. I think that's great. But why is it okay for you, but not okay for them? Why is it okay for you to say, well, you know what, I made some, maybe you won't say it was a mistake. I don't know. I'll ask you. But why would it be okay for you hypothetically to say, I made some mistakes, but, you know, everything turned out okay. My kids turned out okay. Why can't other women use those same excuses if they have kids after 30 or if they want their own career? If you want to be a stay-at-home mom with kids, I think that's great. Go ahead and do that. But if you want to be out there in the workforce and be a doctor or a lawyer, you should be allowed to do that too. And Bible thumpers shouldn't be telling you what you should or shouldn't do. That's exactly what you do, Rachel. So I'd like you to explain to this audience right now why it's.
Yeah, same. Couldn't believe he was making her argument. It blew my mind. Yeah, I know, right? That's why Rachel was just nodding like, yeah, because he was like arguing like her points.
Okay for you to have 3 baby daddies, why it's okay for you to take those risks and those studies that I just mentioned for your kids, but why is it not okay for everybody else?
We will switch over to Rachel for her 5-minute rebuttal. Got the timer set for you, Rachel. The floor is all yours.
So what you just heard was amateur hour of somebody who does not know how to make an argument, somebody who doesn't know what a debate is or how to
Ad hominem
have a
attacks.
debate. You can't
Ad hominem
interrupt.
attacks.
You can't.
We can't interrupt during the
No.
Yep, go ahead.
Again, amateur hour. This is the person who did the
By the way, he complains about that later on in the show. How about, oh yeah, like pretty much it was so biased because most of the audience there were Crucible fans, and he's like, even the moderator's a right winger. He muted me. It's like, no, he muted you because you're talking during the openers, which you're not supposed to do. Not supposed to talk during the openers and the closers.
ad hominem attacks. He didn't present an argument. He just said, what about you? He used a tu quoque fallacy. What about you, though? This debate has nothing to do with my life or your life or
Yes,
my
it does.
personal life or your personal life.
Okay.
Control yourself, Brian.
Yeah.
Sean, please mute Brian.
Staggering lack of self-control. So again, another fallacy, a straw man fallacy. My argument was not that I can tell women what to do. My whole entire opening was just explaining.
Hold on, guys. I got to fix my audio. I'm clicking here in my ears. So give me 1 second. Come on. All right.
What has happened to society in general, going over data. There was no condemnation of working mothers. There was no condemnation of women who need to leave abusive relationships like I did. There was no, we need to go back to slavery, which was 50 years ago, I guess. Again, not sure how this person is employed in media, but
Thank you very much, T Jenks, for the 5. Andrew and Rachel are saying what is optimal for our society. That doesn't mean people won't F it up. Aim for optimal equals better societal outcomes. Yeah, exactly. Well said, T Jenks. Thank you very much for the 5.
all that aside, he did not address any of the arguments I made, which were that actually what he did was support my arguments by saying, yeah, when families are broken up, it's bad for kids. When we see divorce, rampant divorce, children raised in single household families, it's bad for kids. Yes, it is.
So the whole reason why I brought up Rachel's personal life.
So here he goes, gonna look at his face too. He's got the creep freaking angry face that he puts on, the serial killer face here. You know, like, you know, if it ever should happen, hopefully it doesn't, but should it ever happen, he just goes off and somebody. They're gonna have this picture up on the screen. We're looking for this man right here, and it's gonna be this face. But so he just doubles down here. He just doubles down. The reason why I had to bring up the personal stuff is for this. It's like, again, he hasn't learned anything.
Is the same reason why people bring up anybody's personal life when they end up being a hypocrite. you could be on the right or the left. Rachel's opening argument was talking about women's behavior and why it can lead to violence within the family. I brought up actual studies to back up my claim that because Rachel has multiple baby daddies, there are a plethora of studies out there that say you are putting your children in harm's way.
There were studies done on Rachel's family. What?
I am pointing out the fact in a very, very basic way that if you're going to complain about the behavior of certain women in society because you think it's bad for the nuclear family, it's bad for kids, then you can't make those same alleged mistakes yourself. If you noticed, she did not want to talk about what she had done in her life. She didn't want to talk about the first kid she had with a man, the second kid she had with another man, so on and so forth. She didn't want to talk about that.
Because it wasn't important to the debate. Okay, she could have also brought up personal shit about you, Brian, and said, "Oh, Brian, you want to defend feminism and women? Don't you go and harass women in their DMs? What about Sarah Spector, Brian?" Like, she could have done the same, and it could have just been a debate of personal attacks on each other. But Rachel actually had arguments. You had nothing.
That's why I brought that up in the argument. It would be just like if she was smoking a cigarette and she was preaching to everybody, don't smoke cigarettes. It's really bad for you. You'll get cancer. And yet she has a history in her life of smoking cigarettes, and she literally is smoking a cigarette during the debate. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to understand why I brought that up. Now, listen, sitting in
Yeah, you don't have to be a brain surgeon, guys. It's completely logical and understandable why he brought that up. But that's not an argument to her claims, though. That's not an argument. Just saying, well, you smoke too. Like, that wouldn't be a rebuttal. Like, if the argument was cigarettes are bad for you, pointing out that the person used to smoke cigarettes or even currently does smoke cigarettes isn't a rebuttal to if cigarettes are good or bad for you at all. So, but that's what you were doing. You were just like, well, you, to quote Quay, well, you. That's not a rebuttal to the argument.
the front row because she needed her support team. And by the way, literally everybody, I'm not exaggerating, everybody in the crowd were Wilson supporters and righties. Now, I'm a big boy. I got paid a good amount of money to do this debate. But all I'm simply saying is the people that were laughing were her husband and a few of her husband's friends that were sitting front row. It's pathetic. But that's why I brought that up. It's very simple. Hypocrisy. Don't tell people that they shouldn't smoke cigarettes. It's bad when you smoke cigarettes. Don't complain about women's behaviors and the things that they're doing that you think is bad for the nuclear family when you did that yourself. This is not brain surgery that we're talking about here. Now, here's where it gets really interesting because it's literally almost impossible to have a serious debate with somebody when they
Holy cow, Dave. You're actually doing the bingo and you've gotten 2 bingos and only missing a few squares. That's crazy.
actually believe that women shouldn't vote. Now, I knew she held this belief, which is indefensible, right?
Why is it indefensible? Like, he just keeps saying it's bad because it's bad. Well, she believes that women shouldn't vote, which is indefensible. It's despicable. It's horrible. But why? Why is that horrible, Brian? You never answer that. You just keep saying it's bad because it's bad. But why is it bad? Why is it despicable to believe that?
grotesque. It's so miserable. But listen to the part of this debate where I get Rachel to admit.
And by the way, again, it's another thing that's frustrating because Rachel has clarified herself herself several times that it's not just women. She just doesn't believe in universal suffrage. She doesn't believe everyone should just have the right to vote just because as soon as they turn 18. That she believes most people shouldn't vote. That's her belief. It's not just specifically women. It's most people. And she's explained that. But Brian is still going with the whole, she doesn't believe women should vote. And it's like, did you not listen to a thing she said at all?
She doesn't think women should be allowed to vote.
Floor is yours.
Well, first of all, for somebody that wants to stay home, you're certainly out a lot debating people. So I really don't understand that argument.
Well,
Number
are you
one,
aware of the, well, let me
was that-
address that,
was that
since
10
this is the
seconds,
back and
or
forth.
can I just finish?
This is
'Cause
the back
that
and
was like-
forth.
I know, but that was like 10
But
seconds.
you already
each.
got it wrong. So my
Okay,
children
well,
are
you got everything wrong.
my children
got
are
everything
grown.
wrong.
No, I got everything
I
right.
know they're grown.
They're
Can I
grown
just
up
finish?
and out of the house.
Can I just finish?
So
Okay.
I've never
Can I
said
finish?
that women can't leave the house when their kids
Can I-
have grown up and left, and that
Okay.
they can't.
Do you
like,
believe women
live-
should be allowed to vote?
Do you think women are chained to the kitchen? Do you
I'm
think
asking you a
chained to
question.
the
Do you
kitchen?
think women should be allowed to vote?
I think it would be better if women and many other groups didn't vote. I would categorize women as one of the groups that should
Okay.
not.
Is there any other demo that shouldn't be allowed to vote, or is it just
Yeah,
women?
I think there's a lot of different ways that you could limit suffrage that would make everything a lot more fair and a lot more efficient. I think that if you're taking more from the system than you get, so that would be a great way to limit suffrage. You'd have to be a net zero taxpayer. You can't be taking more than you're getting. So if you're getting more in SNAP benefits and welfare
So
than
voting
you're paying,
should be based on how much you pay in taxes, or if you pay
it should
taxes?
be based on whether you are contributing to the system or not. If you're taking more than you're contributing, no, you shouldn't be having a voice in governance. You should also have to take a civics test, proving that you have some rudimentary understanding of how our government works.
A lot of people wouldn't vote for Donald Trump if that was the case. But anyway, yeah. So
Always has to make it about Trump. Always with the TDS. Thank you very much, T Jinx, for the 5. So if someone has lung cancer from smoking, then by Brian's standard, that person can't tell anyone not to smoke. What an arsler. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Thank you very much, T Jinx. And again, it's funny because he's playing these clips to his own audience. So he's exposing his own audience to the rational and logical arguments of Rachel here.
think about that. Think about all the people who voted for Donald Trump that wouldn't have been able to pass the civics test. I guarantee you, if that was the case and you had to pass the civics test to vote, Donald Trump would not be the president of the United States right now. So that's number one.
Yeah, exactly, Emmett. By the way, would that not be an argument from his side for the civics test? Yeah, exactly. You would think that he would then want the civics test. So that way, people like Donald Trump wouldn't be able to get voted in, right? You would think he would want the civics test.
One. Number two. So Rachel is saying, let's forget about even the female aspect of this for a moment, which is insane. She doesn't think women should vote. And then she says some men shouldn't vote either if they're not contributing to society, like, for example, paying taxes. Okay. What about if you have a disability? Should you not be allowed to vote? What if you're a quadriplegic? What if you're blind? What if you're unable to work? To no fault of your own, Rachel thinks you shouldn't be allowed to vote because you're not contributing to society and you're on health care, so you shouldn't be allowed to vote. I so disagree with that. It's so insane to me, and I disagree with it. What if you have a brain?
Yeah, but why though? Like, why? See, it's just, I disagree with it. I feel that it's wrong. I feel that that's disgusting. I think it's terrible. But why, Brian? You can't just use, I just think it's gross as an argument. That's not an argument. Why?
Injury. What if you suffered like some sort of aneurysm or some catastrophic injury to your body? What if you were born like that? According to Rachel's logic, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. What if you're a single mom and you got out of an abusive relationship and the man that you were with doesn't pay child support and he's in jail, hypothetically speaking? You're a single mom, you're on welfare, you're on food stamps, you're not paying taxes. According to Rachel, that person shouldn't vote. But if you're a woman, even if you are contributing to society, if you're a woman, doesn't matter who you are, she doesn't think you should vote.
I don't think she
How
said
could
that.
anybody agree with that?
How can anyone agree with that? It's despicable. If you agree with that, you're a piece of shit. That's what I think. Thank you very much, Eric Johnson, for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you very much for becoming a documented citizen of the Coolverse. Now you get access to all the past live streams and the awesome custom emojis. Thank you very much.
Unless you're a bigot.
Oh, there
Unless
it is.
you're a
Yeah,
misogynist.
unless you're a piece of shit.
How could any reasonable human being think that because of what's between your legs, you shouldn't be allowed to vote? It shouldn't matter whether you're homeless, whether you're on government assistance, whether you have a disability. It could be a learning disability. It could be injuries sustained in your life. or whether you're a billionaire. That's what
Man, this guy just always like grandstands and virtue signals, dude. This guy's like a virtue signal machine. He has to make everything into a and then everybody clapped speech. Thank you very much, Eric, for the New Zealand 5. I can see the sense in limiting voting to taxpayers only, and as a government worker, I would include my group in the can't vote category. Well, thank you very much, Eric, for the fiver. Yeah, exactly. Unless you are a bigot, like I can't believe it. Blah blah blah. Yeah, he has a leering disability.
what makes this country great. We all have a voice. Some have bigger platforms than others. But Rachel believes that you shouldn't vote just because you're a woman. And everybody in that crowd that was watching this debate live, and I would imagine everybody, or probably 99% of the people in the modern day debate chat and in the Uncensored America chat, probably agreed with her. It's very, very sad. And I completely
It's very
disagree with that
sad.
assessment. She
See, it's
doesn't
always back to like what I think, what Brian thinks. It's always about what Brian thinks is disgusting or good. That's it. But he never explains why. He never argues why it's a good thing or why it's a bad thing. It's just, I think it's good or I think it's bad. That's it. That's all you need to know. I just think it's bad.
think women should vote. She apparently doesn't think that if you're not contributing in society, meaning if you have a disability or there's a reason why you can't work and you're taking tax dollars. By her standard, if you're a senior citizen, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. I just find that completely
I mean, Rachel never said that, but even if that were the case, there's a lot of things that senior citizens aren't allowed to do. Like at a certain point, if they're too old to drive, they're not allowed to have driver's licenses anymore. There's even an argument like going on right now between people where it's like there should be age limits to um, positions in government. Like once you reach a certain age, you shouldn't be allowed to uh, be in government anymore. I mean, look at Joe Biden. People think, well, Joe Biden was too old to be president. I mean, I'm just saying that that's not exactly a stretch that, like, if you're too old and your cognitive abilities are on the decline, that maybe you shouldn't be voting. That's not some kind of outrageous thing.
insane, and I couldn't disagree with it anymore. Now, I don't like the use of the R word, and it is the use of
Man, he really got hung up on that retard thing, man. He took a personal deep offense to that. He is like, how dare you? That's our word, Rachel. You're not allowed to say that, okay? Only we're allowed to say that. Only us retards can say that word. That's our word. How dare you? But man, he's really like, he really hung up on that word. That really offended him.
a word that I think I've rarely used my entire life because it's very offensive.
Oh, of course. Oh, of course. Yeah, sure.
And the first person to use that word in this debate was Rachel, as she is describing people who believe in atheism. Now, of course, I use that back at her because I think it's reprehensible. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I'll take responsibility for that. Maybe I was wrong.
Maybe.
But I want you to listen to this exchange we had because Rachel is basically saying, if you don't believe in what she believes in, you are this.
We should do about that.
Well, no, she said if you're an atheist, you're retarded, which based. But on the side note, though, hold on, let me go back. There's something he said that I want.
Because I think it's reprehensible. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I'll take responsibility for that.
That's what I wanted to say. He never actually apologized there. He never actually said, hey, I'm sorry for saying that. I shouldn't have said that word. It goes against my morals or my beliefs or what have you. Therefore, I'm sorry for saying that word. No, it's just like, well, maybe I was in the wrong. And if you want to call me out, go ahead. It's one of those, I'm sorry you were offended type of deals.
Maybe I was wrong.
By the way, Keith, thank you very much for the 2. Brian looks like he high-fives himself. Yeah, exactly. He's like DDP, self high five. Dave O'Jackal, thank you very much for becoming a member to the Coolverse. Hell yeah. Good job, team. Those numbers are going up. The line is going up. I like it. Thank you very much, Dave-O.
But I want you to listen to this exchange we had because Rachel is basically saying, if you don't believe in what she believes in, you are this.
we
food
should
stamps
do about
is the
that.
right
I'll
thing
tell
to
you
do?
what we should do about it is what I'm doing
Hey,
right now,
everybody, are you
what Andrew
struggling
does
to
all the
find a
time,
place
which
to remind
is
you of Brooklyn?
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna skip ahead because I don't I don't know what goes on here, but I think on the radio side of his show, he has like an ad going on. But us over here watching it online, we could hear the ad going on in the background. Like he doesn't mute it, and it's kind of annoying. So I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. Plus, we've all seen the debate here. We know that he looks stupid, Rachel looks based. We get it.
To call people addicted to a sandwich and be
Wow.
quiet.
right now. There we go. Now we're back. So calling an entire group of people because they're not Christians and they believe in atheism, the R word, is so ridiculous. We live in a country where
Oh my god, everything has to be this big speech. Caesar the Great, thank you very much for the $9.99. A civics test would bar all of the conservatives from voting. Does he really think these college feminist immigrants who barely speak English and lefties would pass? They can't even name 3 countries. Yeah, that's actually very true. Thank you very much, Caesar. And thank you very much, Eric, for the $5. Okay, I'm out. Have a good stream, Vic. W Rachel, W chat. Best group of peeps ever. Good night. Good night to you too, Eric. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
our own Constitution, we have freedom of religion, which also means freedom to not be religious. Okay, whether it is Christianity, whether it is Judaism, or whether you decide to be an atheist, we have a duty in this country to allow people to believe in what they want to believe in.
We have a duty to let people believe whatever they want to believe in. What if you're a Satanist? What if you believe in cannibalism? What if you believe in family love? We have a duty to just let these people just believe what they believe. That is absolutely retarded, Brian. Absolutely retarded.
And Rachel believes that if you believe in atheism and you don't believe in God, that somehow she has the right to call all of you the R word. And the reason why, and I'll take the criticism for it. If you think it was inappropriate for me to call her that, I'll take that criticism. And you know what? You're probably right.
Yeah, exactly, Paul. Yeah, what if you believe atheism is retarded? Yeah, what if we believe atheism is retarded? According to Brian, we have a duty to allow people to believe what we want to believe. So, okay, Brian, there you go. It's your duty to let me believe atheism is retarded. There you go.
But at that moment, I couldn't believe what she said. There's a reason why in this country we have something called freedom of religion. And I've been very clear on this. I think you should be allowed to believe in whatever you want to believe in. You can believe in the tooth fairy. You could be Christian. I'm not an extremely religious person. I wouldn't call myself an atheist. I'm probably somewhere in the middle. How do you have any credibility when you say all women shouldn't be allowed to vote? How do you have any credibility when you insult people just because they're atheists and you use the R word?
But it's funny because he does this all the time, though. Like, he always insults people for not believing the things he believes. Always, every day on his radio show, he's insulting right-wingers, MAGA supporters, Trump. Like, oh, if you support Trump, then you're a horrible person. He does the same shit. Eric, for the New Zealand 10, how dare Rachel call a whole group of people the dreaded R word? Brian would never call a whole group of people like Trump. Yeah, exactly, Eric. Brian would never call a whole group of people like Trump voters, for instance, bad names ever. That would be so hypocritical. Yeah, exactly. And we all know the thing that Brian hates the most is hypocrites. Thank you very much, Eric, for the 10. And thank you very much, Keith. Where are you at? Keith for the 2. That wasn't a debate. That was Rachel whooping butt. Yeah, exactly. It was just a domination. It was a domination for a whole hour. Thank you very much, Keith.
Now, this was the point in the debate where I knew that Rachel, because she does this in every single one of her feminism debates, she doesn't want women in government. So not only does she not want women the ability to vote, which is ridiculous, she doesn't think that women should be working in government. Now, I was prepared for that And I gave a study about COVID, and apparently she thinks COVID is funny because the first moment I talk about COVID, she laughs. These people in this crowd are sick people. And they think, I think everyone in our life, right?
They were laughing at you,
Sadly,
Brian. They were laughing at you. They weren't laughing at people dying from COVID. They were laughing at you because you're a buffoon. That's what they're laughing at. I got to thinking, because there's a few instances where he was like, "Why are you laughing?" And then later on in this show, he takes a call and he's like, "Why are you laughing, sir?" If you ever came out with like an autobiography, he should call it "Why Are You Laughing?" The Brian Shapiro story, because that's pretty much sums up Brian Shapiro in a nutshell.
Wasn't the case, but like I think all of us,
everyone's just laughing at him because he's a buffoon and a moron, and he doesn't understand why.
At least one person in our lives that have passed away from COVID. It's very, very sad. I, for one, am very lucky. I was in the ICU for 2 weeks and I almost lost my life. But there's a reason why I'm bringing up COVID, which she didn't want me to talk about. But I had a study proving that women in government showed amazing leadership, and the stats prove that women in powerful positions in government did a better job in handling COVID than men. Watch this.
Nobody even dares.
We're going to agree to
tell
disagree on
women
that. Do you think women are bad in the government? Do you think they're bad representing in government? Because you said that in your book, right? You think
I
women are bad?
don't think women should be in
Mhm.
politics, no.
You
But
don't.
you still haven't given me an argument
Well,
for
I mean, we can beat a
why-
dead horse, but I'd like to move on to another topic. Do you
I'm
think,
sure you would,
do you
because
think women
had-
are bad?
I
No,
just
because
won
we
that
only. How
point.
much time do we have left in this debate? There's a lot of other things that
I always cracked up every time he kept asking how much time is left. That he was such a clock watcher.
should be discussed. Yeah, exactly. 10 minutes more. You think women are bad in government, right? You don't think they should be in government. You don't think
Right.
they should be politicians, right?
Yes,
Why
correct.
is that? Why do you think that way?
Because the purpose of government is for the protection of people and property, and women
Good.
are not able to accomplish that. Women, there's a
Yep.
reason, by the way, that
Yep.
historically women couldn't own property. It's because they can't defend it. So as a
Yep.
woman, if I owned like 100 acres of
Mhm.
land in 1845, how am I going to protect it
Yep.
from bandits, from marauders, from people
I hate
who
to
want to
break
just
it
come
to
and steal
Rachel,
it?
but
I would need, you asked me a question, so I'm answering.
yeah,
I
lady.
would need men to do that on my behalf.
Mhm.
I think the reason that we shouldn't have women in government is because men are the only people who can defend the borders, who can enforce the law.
Mhm.
We've seen what happens when you try to put female law enforcement officers on the
Mhm.
streets and on the border. It doesn't work
Yeah.
out very well. We need men, and we rely on them to protect persons and property.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Therefore, that's the task of
Let's
men,
talk
not
about
of women.
protection.
Yeah, I like it when the lefties like show the clips from like Rachel or Andrew, and it's just like a highlight reel, and it's just like, man, Andrew really cooked right there, or Rachel really cooked like there, but they're showing it like, oh, look how stupid they look. But it's like, well, no, actually, they're looking really based, and you're the one looking stupid. So it's really great. Thank you very much, T Jenks, for the $5. Brian reminds me of one of those no-name wrestlers who'd be in the Royal Rumble, and the Undertaker or Stone Cold just easily tosses him over the ropes. Yeah, a jobber, if you will. Yeah, he's pretty much like Andrew compared him to Glass Joe from Punch Out. But in wrestling, yes, he would be called a jobber, just someone that's there to make the actual stars look good. Thank you very much, T Jenks. And thank you very much, Rachel, for the 1999. OMG, that's hilarious. Why are you laughing? The Brian Shapiro story. Yeah, I'm glad you like that one. But yeah, absolutely. Because he says that multiple times where he's like, why are you laughing? Like he really doesn't get it. He doesn't understand that people are laughing at him because he looks like an idiot. But thank you very much, Rachel. Appreciate it. And also thank you very much, Keith, for the $5. Brian was in the ICU and must have lost oxygen because his brain's dead. Brian plus the mute button loses debate. Brian minus the mute button gets destroyed. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, Keith. And also thank you guys very much for helping me clear that super chat goal. You guys, without you guys, I would have to go to working a regular job just like this.
Is completely wrong. I told you I wanted it without pickles. Uh-huh.
See, that could have been me, but you guys, because of you guys' generous donations, I do not have to work in the fast food industry. Thank you guys very much. And thank you, Caesar, for the $4.99. Rachel nailed it when she said he is just LARPing to get into women's faces. The fake outrage about C19, the R word, and the misogyny is so sleazy. Yeah, it really is. He is really a creepy. Thank you very much, Caesar. Let me remove this real quick.
Let's talk about COVID for a moment. Female leaders
Yeah, let's.
This is like one of my favorite parts because look at his face. He gets so angry. Look at that face of anger right there. How dare you laugh at COVID? When it's like she wasn't laughing at COVID. She was laughing because you just bring that up out of nowhere. Like, what? You're talking about this thing, and all of a sudden, let's talk about COVID. It's like, huh? What? But look, he gets all mad.
COVID. Okay, sure. Tell me how
Why are
this
you
is gonna-
laughing at
'cause
COVID? Millions of people died of
It
COVID.
had better tie back to feminism.
Why are you
Because
laughing?
we're debating feminism, and
You
you're
think
bringing
COVID's
up.
funny?
I think it has nothing to do with feminism.
Okay, well, why don't you shut up and let me finish and make him a sandwich again and
Are
let
you
me finish.
mad? Are you
No,
getting a
you're
little emotional?
disrespectful. I'm trying to make a point. I let you talk. Be quiet. Let me talk. There's a reason why I'm bringing this up. You
You're
said
turning
women.
red.
You said women shouldn't be in government positions.
Yes, correct.
I am telling you, during COVID, female leaders were far more successful than men in dealing with COVID. Globally, women only held 7% of leadership positions. 4 of the top 10 countries that were run by women. And in this study, the death rates, 13 countries led by men, 8 led by women. The male per capita, 214 deaths per million that were led by men. Led by women, 13.
And then they go back and look at his
You're
face when people
laugh.
laugh.
Yeah, let's. COVID. Okay.
Angry
sure.
Brian face.
Tell me how
Why are
this
you
is gonna-
laughing at
'cause
COVID? Millions of people died of
It had
COVID.
better tie back to feminism.
Why are you
Because
laughing?
we're debating feminism, and
You
you're
think COVID's
bringing up.
funny?
I think
You think COVID's funny, huh? No, we think you're funny, Brian.
it has nothing.
You're a
to do with
ridiculous human
feminism.
Okay, well,
being.
why don't you
People are like starting to realize what I meant now when I said he can't be a real person. This has to be like a brilliant character concocted by this great method actor or something. Like this has to be a character because this guy is just over the top ridiculous.
you could say maybe it wasn't that clear.
Okay, well, the reason for those statistics is that women were notoriously tyrannical, like the Prime Minister of New Zealand locked down New Zealand tighter than a prison camp.
What?
And the fastest way to
What?
get rid of liberty and freedom is to put women in charge of the government because they overwhelmingly bring in tyrannical
I
welfare
just gave you the
states, lock-
stats of how they saved lives.
Yes, by locking down their countries, by
They
not letting
saved
people go to work,
lives.
by shutting down businesses, by forcing people to take vaccines.
So first of all, okay, so
Brian's face palming like funniest part is when he said his hat is a physical attribute. Yeah, we learned a lot of things. We learned Brian's a woman. All right, so gender reveal, and apparently that's not a hat he's wearing. Apparently that's his head. That's a physical attribute, and we've just been cruel making fun of his head that looks like a newsboy cap. Crazy.
First of all, it wasn't women that were forcing people to take vaccines. Also, the guy that she voted for was the one responsible for Operation Warp Speed. It was also Donald Trump that left it up to the states, many of which are run by men. That's number one. Number two, I was never for mandates when it came to vaccines. What I'm doing is I'm backing up my claims of why women should be in power. And I backed it up with stats during a global pandemic, which was a horrible catastrophe, not just for the United States, but to the world. And I gave her the stats of the women that are in charge of countries by far 20-fold did a better job than men when it came to the per capita death rate. I was giving actual stats and data to back up why she is wrong. And that was one of the biggest catastrophes that this country had to deal with in decades. And the world had to deal with this. And the women that were in charge as a whole did a better job. And her only argument, while the idiots in the crowd, because that's what they are, they just were a bunch of conspiracy theorist clowns. If you're a Wilson fan, that's what you are, with a very low IQ, clearly. They're laughing. First of all, when I even bring up COVID, they laugh. They think it's funny. Millions of people in this country lost their lives. And I'm giving actual real data to back up my opinions on women, why women should be in powerful positions. And then her only response to that is, do you believe in freedom, Brian? Well, yes, of course I believe in freedom. But I also believe in saving lives. And I'm sorry that during that time frame, you couldn't go to the mall. I'm sorry during that time frame you couldn't go to your favorite restaurant. But
I'm sorry during that time frame you couldn't go to your loved ones' funerals. I'm sorry during that time frame you couldn't visit like your elderly relatives, like your parents or your grandparents and stuff. I'm sorry during that time you couldn't get life-saving surgery or treatments because you didn't get the shot. I'm sorry during that time people got fired from their jobs for refusing to get the jab. Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. See how Brian tries to, and all the lefties do that to try to minimize it. Oh, sorry, you couldn't go to the mall. No, it wasn't just the mall. Like there's a lot more serious than just, oh, we couldn't go to the mall. So yeah, don't try to minimize it. Don't try to minimize it at all. Also, too, all he's doing is just repeating the same arguments he had in the debate. It's just the same argument he said during the debate. It's like he didn't hear Rachel's rebuttal at all. Like Rachel actually gave an argument, yeah, that women were more tyrannical. They locked people down, which is probably why less people got the disease and stuff because they're more tyrannical. Brian didn't have any answer to that, so he's just repeating the argument again. I said I had the studies. Well, why can't people understand that? Because the people are stupid. That's why. It's the fans that are stupid. It's Rachel that's stupid. Everybody's stupid except for me. They might think they're smarter than me, but they're not.
those women who were running those countries at that time saved literally millions of lives because of the positions that they put, the positions they had and the policies that they put in power. And while she can complain, oh, everything should have been opened, I'm trying to tell you that the leaders that were women at that time were responsible for saving.
Carrie rename the show Getting My Pushed In with Brian Shapiro. Yeah, totally. Thank you very much, Single Dad's Club, for the 10. Brian looks miserable. He must be suffraging. Yeah, totally. He's totally suffraging. Thank you very much, Single Dad's Club.
Far more lives per capita than any man did that was running any country, including the United States of America. But she didn't want to talk about that, did she? At the end of the debate, we were asked to do a closing statement.
And he plays this for his own audience. He really thought he cooked with this closing statement.
Now, Uncensored America had me open up the debate, and I started first. In any debate that you ever see out there that is conducted fairly, whoever starts the debate is the one who's supposed to have the last word and end the debate. But because Uncensored America are Wilson psycho fans, which they are, Sean.
So he says that a few times. He calls us and the moderators and everyone psycho fans. But I don't know if he's saying psycho fans or if he's trying to say sycophants. No, I'm having trouble saying it. Yeah, so I don't know what he's trying to say. Is he saying psycho fans or sycophants? And he's just mispronouncing it. I don't know. He says that a few times. I wouldn't be surprised if he's saying sycophants, like he's mispronouncing that word. And he probably thinks the word has something to do with being a psycho fan.
And the moderator and everybody else, they didn't allow me to do that. So they had me start the debate, which I didn't mind, but I was supposed to be the one to have the last word, and end the debate. They allowed Rachel Wilson that time to do so. So with that being said, at the end of this debate,
he's trying to be funny with the play on word as psychos. The thing is, I don't know it, Brian. Like Brian said that comment about women's suffrage. I'm against women's suffrage. I don't want women to suffer. And it looked like he was kidding or trying to be clever. It looks like he really thought women's suffrage meant women suffering. And so it's kind of confusing. Like, is he stupid or is he trying to be funny? I don't know.
My closing remarks tried to normalize and tried to sympathize and tried to give any common ground to anybody in that room, including me and Rachel. I talked about tragedy. And I didn't bring up a horrible tragedy that happened to her 10-year-old son to mock anybody, which I would never do. I didn't bring up the tragedy of losing her 10-year-old son to make light of it, which I would never do. Any logical human being with an IQ over 20 that isn't a Wilson psycho fan, that goes without saying, would
See, right there, he said psycho fan. So I was like, oh, okay. Maybe he's just saying psycho fans.
understand why I brought this up in my closing remarks. It was very emotional for me. Nothing I said in the closing remarks was fake or acting or fake tears.
It was fake tears, and
This was what I said in the closing remarks that had a lot of people still attacking me on social media for bringing up a tragedy in her life, and then I brought up a tragedy in my life. Watch this.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. I do a lot of shows that are way far to the right. I'm happy to do them, regardless of whether people agree or disagree with me. But I'm going to talk about something now very serious, and it's an emotional thing. And when I was doing debate prep for this debate, I learned of a horrible story that I am very sad to hear. That you had lost your 10-year-old son in a car accident, and my condolences to your family. It's awful. And unfortunately, we have something like that in common, Rachel, and I am truly sorry that happened to you. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. When I was 12 years old.
Thank you very much, Piano Dean, for the $5. I was at the debate. Trust me, the video does not do it justice compared to being there. It wasn't a debate. It was an intellectual obliteration. Yeah, I'm sure it was. Thank you very much, Piano Dean, for the $5.
My whole family got into a very serious car accident. I lost my grandmother. It's the reason why my sister passed away a few years ago, because of her injuries. And I learned at a very young age how precious.
What does this
life
have to
is.
do with feminism?
What does this have to do with?
He tries to tie it in like, what does it have to do with feminism? But it still had nothing to do with anything regarding feminism being better for women and children. Nothing at all. If the prompt was, should people be allowed to do whatever they want? Then yeah, this could be an argument. Is life short? Yeah, that definitely would be an argument. But with feminism, this has nothing to do with it at all. This is just really horrible and in poor taste. I'll skip ahead and I'll get to his thoughts where he talks about it and doubles down on it.
And what an argument is, or how to debate feminism. He wasn't able.
But I will rewatch Rachel's rebuttal.
And I would.
Disappointing. We had no arguments from Brian whatsoever for why we should believe that feminism has been beneficial for women and children. He wasn't able to provide any data, any sort of measurement whatsoever to show that, hey, before feminism, this was what happened, and after feminism, this is what we got. We didn't get any of that. What we got was a whole bunch of logical fallacies and a person who doesn't understand what an argument is or how to debate. I'm going to list them off quickly, but join in the comments on the live stream if you caught more of these than I did. These were just some of the.
So
I had absolutely no idea what any of the words that she says, these fallacies, I had no idea what they were at all. So I don't even care. Let's just go back to talking about how despicable of a human being she is. Thank you very much, Piano Dean, for the 5. Oh, wait, I already read this one. Thank you very much, Single Dads Club, for the 10. You're in a professional debate, not running for office, Bryce Shapp. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, Single Dad. And also thank you very much, T Jenks, for the 5. Vic, have you ever played the clip of Brian getting kicked out of a poker tournament? Jake Rattlesnake played it on a recent live indie. It's hilarious. Yeah, is it the one where he insulted the guy's haircut and he got penalized or got threatened to be penalized? Yeah, I covered that like a month or two ago. Yeah, I covered that a while ago. It's on my secondary channel. Everybody Be Cool. Link is in the description if you want to follow that one. But thank you very much, T Jenks, for the 5.
first of all, if you notice, she didn't even respond to anything that I said about the tragedies in my life, because she's a horrible human being. Anybody
Horrible
with
human
compassion,
being.
and listen, I'll be the first one to say, Rachel and Andrew, I think, are just despicable human beings. But with that being said, what happened to their son is terrible. For the people out there that don't seem to understand why I brought that up or think, Brian, you were being really low, they're very ignorant. I'll explain it once again. The only reason, by the way, I didn't know about this tragedy until a few weeks ago. The only reason why I brought it up, well, maybe 2 reasons. But the main reason why I brought up this tragedy in her life is the same reason why I brought up tragedies in my life. To prove a point. that while there are women out there like Rachel and her wife or husband, whatever you want to call him, Andrew, who think that you shouldn't be allowed to vote, the Myron Gaines of the world that think women are second-class citizens. By the way, these are the people who Uncensored America work with. I just want to be very clear on that. People who don't think women should vote and people who think women are second-class citizens. So shame on them. My whole point that I was trying to make, and the reason why I brought this up, and I was sincere when I said I felt horrible for her and her family for what happened. The only reason why I brought this up was to express the fact that life is really short.
We know, Brian.
We should still be able to have compassion for people that go through horrible tragedies.
When did she ever
And
say that we
tell other
shouldn't?
people what to do with their lives? Rachel had the opportunity to be in some bad relationships. I would hope she learned from them. But nobody told her you can't get out of that relationship. You know, you should stay in it. You can't have kids with other people. No, and I wouldn't support anybody saying that. Women, men, whoever you are, but in this case, the feminism debate, I don't care what's between your legs. You should have the right to be able to vote. You're not a second-class citizen. I want equal rights for women. Now, if you disagree with that, okay, fine. You have the right to disagree with that. I'm mesmerized that there are people out there that would disagree with those very basic elements and statements. But the only point is that we all go through tragedies in our life. We all have stories. We all have tragic stories. I have mine. Rachel has hers. I didn't bring that up to mock her. I didn't bring that up to try to get her to break down. While Andrew Wilson, who was sitting there, was having an aneurysm. Oh my God, how could you bring that up? But if you actually took the time to listen to my words and what I was trying to say, I was trying to make the case. Unfortunately, we both have tragedies in our lives in common. She didn't even address anything that I said. Nothing. Why?
Because she's disgusting.
Because she's not a good person.
Yeah, that's why. He just thinks if he just repeats his arguments again, then we're like, oh, okay, Brian. Yeah, we didn't hear you the first time you made that argument, but now that you said it the second time, we totally get it. You know, it's like if he thinks he just repeats it, and if you still don't get it, well, then you're an idiot or you're a terrible person. You're a despicable human being. And I guess because Rachel didn't go over across the stage and give him a big hug and be like, it's okay, Brian. You're a good person. We all go through shit, right. Then she's despicable, I guess. It had nothing to do with the conversation. That's why she didn't address. Why should she address? What did it have to do with anything? Key, thank you very much for the $5. Didn't respond to his tragedies. She commented on the hat. That's true. This dude keeps saying life is really short, but hearing him talk takes forever. It really does. Thank you very much, Keith. Intel is wild for the 2. Monday through Friday, or MF Lion Shapiro. Oh yeah, thank you very much. Intel
doesn't have empathy for others. All these people care about is winning debates. They go from city to city. And that's really all Rachel debates is feminism. All they care about is debate styles and how do I win a debate instead of actually talking about the real issues and trying to come up with solutions, trying to come up with any common ground at all. We just want to win a debate. We want to own the libs. Well, guess what? That's not who I am. That's not what I do. And I will always fight for women's rights, and I will always fight for equality. It doesn't matter whether it's gender equality. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about racism. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about homosexuality. It doesn't matter what the topic is. I want everybody to be treated fairly. I believe in equality. Now, if you want to label me a feminist because I believe in equality, then you go ahead and do that. I don't care. I don't care.
Seems like
if you don't think women should vote, then I have nothing in common with you. And there's really no point in having a debate with somebody like that. And I'll be frank, the only reason why I went out there and did this is because they were willing to pay me. Otherwise, I would have never have done it. I wouldn't have done it virtually. I wouldn't have done it, traveling out to North Carolina. They paid me to do it. That's the only reason why I did it, and I put myself through this torture, because that's really what it was. There were a lot of really bad people in that crowd. And of course, I believe Andrew Wilson is one of them, and so is Rachel. That's, for the most part, how the debate went. And after the debate,
Well, then why are you trying to be civil with a bunch of bad people, Brian? Why would you want them to come into your room and shake your hand and have a beer with them or hang out at the restaurant or whatever? Why would you want to do that with these bad people, Brian? Why? Oh, it's because you're getting paid. Thank you very much, T Jenks, for the $5. What's a fallacy? I just want to see Rob's phallus. Only way YouTube will let me say that. Oh, okay, yeah, I know. YouTube's pretty when it comes to the super chats. I hate it. It's annoying. I have to also, when I send a super chat, I have to like reword everything. It's very annoying, but I get it. Thank you very much, T Jenks. And also thank you very much, Far From Puking, for the 5. Just got here. Here's my late fee. Well, thank you very much for the $5 late fee, brother. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much for the 320 yen turtle on his shirt. He learned nothing. Yeah, he learned absolutely bloody nothing. And thank you very much, Andrew Jump, for the £5, right? I will always fight for women's rights apart from the ones I disagree with, Brian Shapiro. Yeah, exactly. Unless you're a woman unless you're a woman I disagree with, I will fight for your rights. Thank you very much, Andrew.
I took some pictures with some people. There were a few nice people in the crowd, unless they were being fake when they went up to me. But there were some nice people in the crowd that shook my hand. And they said, listen, I disagree with you, but thank you for being here. I do appreciate that. When I did a live debate in Washington, D.C. with Tim Pool, there were actually a lot of nice people in the crowd that shook my hand after. I said, listen, I disagree with you, but I respect you for being here. The reason why a lot of people on the left or leaning left don't want to do these types of debates is for this reason. So after the debate, on the schedule, we were all supposed to be going to this restaurant. And I was told by the organizer, people paid for VIP tickets and they want to be able to, meet you guys and have dinner. I said, okay, not really on the tops of my agenda to want to be able to sit down with the Wilsons in any way, shape, or form. But for the idea of being professional, I'm getting paid to do this, I will do it. I didn't want to. So after the debate, I was told by Sean, the organizer, verbatim, who told me, Andrew doesn't want you to be there. I said, okay. Yeah, Andrew doesn't want you to be there, so you better not show up. Now, a part of me was relieved because I didn't want to go. And then another part of me said, well, isn't that typical Andrew? Andrew Wilson, the crybaby. Not willing.
Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure a little piece of his heart was broken inside. They don't want me there? What? But why don't they want me there? They must have not understood my speech at the end. They must have misunderstood because they're a bunch of imbeciles. But why don't they want me, man? Thank you very much, Single Dads Club, for the 10. Brian should use his passion to fight to bring back the Ringling Brothers Circus. Yeah, I know, right? Thank you very much, Single Dads Club.
To put any personal differences aside. Listen, I get it. They've said horrible things about me. I've said horrible things about them. They don't like me any more than I like them. I think that's obvious, right? But we're getting paid to be there. I would have been happy to sit there and be cordial to everybody. And
wow, good guy, Brian. Yeah, but they're paying me to be there. I would have been nice because they're paying me. See, I'm a good guy. As long as you pay me, I'll be nice.
Be professional. But Andrew the crybaby didn't want me there. I was relieved, but at the same time, it goes to show you the people that I'm dealing with. That's the way it went down. I was willing to shake their hand. I was willing to. It's funny, when the debate started, I shook Rachel's hand. She wasn't going to shake mine. And I said, wow, I feel like Kamala Harris in that awkward moment when she shook Donald Trump's hand at the beginning of that debate. And she's like, how you doing? I'm Kamala Harris. I did that with Rachel. I was willing in private to be able to just shake their hand and say, hey, thanks for being here. Good to see you guys. I was willing to be professional. They didn't want to do that before the debate. They didn't want to do that after the debate. I have zero respect for them. And that's the way the whole thing went down. And the only reason why I did it is because I got paid. So that's really how the whole thing went down. I do want to play.
He looks like he's all upset about it. He's like, well, that's how it went down. I didn't really want to hang out with him anyway. I was paid to be there. Okay. I didn't want to hang out with them. Who needs them? Thank you very much, Eric, for the 10. Wow, pretty sure Brian mentions the Wilsons and Andrew specifically as much as Trump is mentioned in the Epstein files. That's a good point. We should bring that up whenever like we debate with them. And also, thank you very much, Hank Panther, for the 2. You know, he cried. He wants in the cool club so badly. Yeah, he really does. He really does. I'm pretty sure he had flashbacks to when he was in school, and he's like, "Can I sit with you guys?" And it's like, "No, the seat's taken." Well, what? There's a whole bench that's open. We said it's taken, Brian. Why don't you go hang out over there? And then he goes and he's like, "No, Brian, we don't want you over here either." Ah, come on. Even the school shooters don't want me here. Is that how lame I am? Yes, Brian. That's how lame you are.
A little bit of my Piers Morgan stuff in a little bit, but I think to start, I do want to open up the phone lines because I'm sure there's a lot of haters out there. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that want to ask me questions. And I'm fine with doing that so long as you don't swear, so long as you're respectful. I will be respectful to you as well. But if there's people that are just going to call up, here's the thing that some of these people don't seem to understand.
Oh, yeah. This is a major cope incoming right here. This is the cope where it's like, I like it when you talk about me and make fun of me. It's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. It helps me.
95% of the people that are on X are on the right. I was the most trending story on X yesterday. They help my engagement. And the haters out there, without them, I wouldn't even be on X. I don't really do much on Blue Sky, but the whole reason why I'm on X is to trigger the MAGA cult, and they buy into it. There are people that are editing my videos saying that I'm a woman. There are people, I think it's actually funny. I'm laughing at all this stuff because people they want to talk about cope. They're actually.
I'm laughing. See, I love it. I'm a woman. I get it. Who's mad? I'm not mad. By the way, that was me. I totally made that video where, by the way, I didn't like manipulate it to where it made him look like he said he's a woman. He literally said, it's not because I'm a woman. He said that. All I did was shorten the clip. That's it. That was all you, Bryce Shapp.
Dissecting my videos, editing my videos, and it helps get my name out there. How do you think I got on Piers Morgan, doing Piers Morgan twice a month? Why do you think I've done OAN, CNN, and Fox News all in the last week and a half? Part of the reason is because you guys love to hate me. You hate watch me. You make videos about me. You become obsessed with me. People make cartoons about me. People make memes about me. I think it's all great. I love it. But what you people don't seem to understand, and you know, maybe I shouldn't even explain this to you, is you're helping my engagement. You're helping this show. And I guess I should thank you for that. But anyway, I'll open up the phone lines. 702.
Well, you're welcome, Brian. Thank you very much, Keith, for the 2. Forrest Gump told Brian, yeah, seats taken. Yeah, exactly. No one wanted him around. Not even cool enough to hang out with the freaking school shooters. No one, just at a table all by himself. I even started a whole Newsboy Cap Club here at the school, and no one even wants to hang out with me from there. Tell you, I get no respect. Thank you very much, Keith. And thank you very much, Dirk Diggler, for the 5. Just a little bit of lore about this debate. Brian chose the debate topic of, is feminism good for women and children? He isn't a feminist, though, guys. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I heard Andrew saying that earlier. Like, he's the one that chose the prompt. Thank you very much, Dirk Diggler, for the Australian fiver.
221-7283 is the number to call. And again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-7283. 702-221-SAVE is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. All right, so let's get right to the phone calls now. As I go to my producer, Numchuck. Michael is first up on PTL. Hey, Michael, what's going on?
So he does the rest of the show taking calls, but this is pretty funny too. Because most of the calls, like, I think he only had like 2, maybe 3. It's funny because even the positive calls that he took from his fans, I had a hard time telling if they were actually fans or if they were trolling him. Because I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes.
Michael, are you there?
You did a really good. Yeah. Oh.
Hi, Michael. Go right ahead. I can hear you now. Sorry, bro. What's up? Michael, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
Okay. So, sorry, it might have been on my end. I apologize.
You're good.
I just want to say that you did really good at the debate, and I just thought by you sharing your story about what happened to you and your grandmother, I thought that was also very powerful, and it was emotional too. And the part that I found very just disgusting and despicable was the fact that Rachel Wilson had no emotion or empathy, and it just sounded like she just didn't care. Like she just she was just cold blooded. It was just so despicable.
Well, Michael, I appreciate.
Yeah, see, like I like this caller, I'm like, is this guy being serious? Because he keeps saying despicable, which is something Brian likes saying a lot. Everything's despicable to this guy. And the way that he's saying, oh, that was a really powerful closer, and Rachel is so cold. I mean, I was like sitting here thinking, like, is this guy real or is he trolling? It's hard to tell. Thank you very much, Andrew, for the 10. This is what liberal atheist freaks do. They try to appeal to Christian morals to be able to treat them poorly with no consequences. Just liberal manipulation tactics. Yeah, 100%, Andrew. Thank you very much for the 10. Troll. Yeah, exactly. Sounds like a troll, but don't know. Yeah, sounds like a troll. It does, right? Trolling or biggest gay ever. Yeah.
Appreciate you saying that, number one. That means a lot, so thank you. I truly feel horrible about what happened to their son. I just think it's absolutely terrible. But isn't that a telling moment in the debate? Even if you think I'm a horrible debater, even if you think Rachel destroyed me in the debate, or she thinks that in her head, you could think all those things, and that's fine. But the fact that she didn't even address the tragedy that me and my family have had to go through, in my opinion, Michael, speaks volumes of her and her character. What's really important? What's really more important in life? Whether you're a good debater or not, or whether you're a good person. I will take the worst debater award of the year or in the history of the country, so long as people can say, Brian, you have empathy, you care about other people that have tragedies in their life. I will take that label to the end of time because I do care about people. And I think what happened to her son is awful. It's awful. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. I said that. You made a very good point. Nothing from her saying, all right, Brian, I think you did a horrible job debating me. You didn't come up with any good points, but hey, I'm really sorry that happened to you too. Nothing like that. But Michael, that's who Rachel is. She's just an awful,
unfortunately,
she's an awful, disgusting human being. And so's Andrew. And I have nothing nice to say about any of them. It's disappointing.
I just want to,
he brings up, he brings up their tragedy. He's still the victim somehow. Thank you very much, Keith, for the 2. Gotta bounce. Cool. God bless you all. God bless you too, Keith. Thank you very much for your donations and for joining us today. Hope you have a good rest of your night.
Is it okay if I say another thing too?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if this is really on topic, but yesterday the Supreme Court overturned the Voting Rights Act, and today I've been all emotional and just very angry and upset just because it's putting our country backwards, and I'm afraid that if people don't come out and vote and we don't make a change in the midterms, I'm afraid that we could be heading back to slavery or maybe even 1930s Nazi Germany. And I had conversations with my friend Xavier about this, and I really do feel, Brian, that we're right at that door right now.
Well, Michael, I think you're right. Michael, I think you're right, unfortunately, and I appreciate your call and your kind words, by the way. Michael, you have the right to feel that way. I think the
see, like I was like, is that a real caller or who talks like that? It's either an actual lefty, because I could believe an actual lefty does, or a troll. I don't know. It's very hard to tell. This guy stinks. Yeah, good. This guy is hilarious. Yeah. See, it's either a very good troll or an actual lefty.
A lot of listeners of PTL feel that way, and I certainly don't think that you're one of them. There's no question about that, Michael. And I appreciate your call, man. Thank you so much. 702-221-728.
Thank you guys very much for helping me complete the second super chat goal. Hey, yeah. Let's see. Let's do let's see, what's a good one to do? I think it's this one.
Thank you, everybody.
There you go. Thank you guys very much. It says a lot when you can't tell if that was a troll or not. Yeah.
83. Becky from California is next. Hey, Becky, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hi, Brian.
Hey.
I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
And you were very, very professional. The least I can
I
say.
tried. There were
Other
a few.
people
There
were
are a
not.
few. There are a few moments where I lost my cool because I just think she's so despicable. But I appreciate those kind words. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, I was one of the ones that Rachel picked a fight with last Friday night on X. And she's just, going on, my husband is so hot, he's so this, he's so that. And I said, well, yeah, if you're
Dude, oh my gosh, dude, that freaking cringe cope laugh right there.
and she's just, going on, my husband is so hot, he's so this, he's so that. And I said, well, yeah, if you're into ashtrays and chubby chasing, go for it. And then,
Don't you? Okay,
and then
Becky.
it just blew up.
Don't you think it's really weird that you have to try? By the way, if you're your husband or your wife, you should think they're hot. I think that's great. You married the person, you should be attracted to them. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with her thinking her husband's hot. What's
Then she was
weird?
like, well, where's the picture of your husband? I said, my husband's smart. He doesn't participate in any of this circus that I do. He's
But
a lot smarter.
But here's the weird behavior. Why would you be trying to convince thousands of strangers on social media how hot your husband is? Like, I just think that's really
no.
It's like when people
Maybe
call me.
Andrew's making her do it. I don't know.
I mean,
all I know is that Rachel's a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
A one-trick pony. The feminism thing. Okay, that's all you know. That's all you talk about.
By the way,
That's why I'm never
Shelly on social media said what's weird about it is he's not hot. So it's kind of funny.
No.
But yeah.
He's totally not hot. I would not ask him to take his shirt off, nor would I ask to see his penis. All right, sorry, it just doesn't do a thing for me.
We'll get to
no.
We'll get to the YouTube super chats in a little bit too. My dear, I really do appreciate you calling. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, Becky.
Love you.
I love you
Take
too.
care.
Thank you, Becky.
I see. So yeah, that was definitely a real fan because she was just as deranged as he was. Which, by the way, Brian, you can tell is totally jealous because Brian doesn't have anybody in his life that talks about how hot he is and how cute he is or whatever like that. He has nobody. He has nobody. Just his OF girls that he hangs out with occasionally. And I don't think even they tell him that stuff.
Before we get back to the phone calls, why don't we do just a few YouTube super chats, if that's okay? By the way, the number to call is 702-221-7283. And again, that number, 702.
Thank you very much, Caesar the Great, for $4.99. The rest of Brian's career will be nothing but being in the anti-Wilson hater club. He doesn't even realize he peaked when he got to engage with him. Yeah, exactly. That's why he's now going to be on the Raging Tomato show. Now they could go and cope together.
221-7283 is the number to call where we want to stay on topic. We're talking about the debate. So Joey asked a good question. He says, how do you think you performed scale 1 to 10? It depends. What do you mean by performance? Did I give my opinions and did I speak truth? I give that a 10. If we're talking about, I don't know, on a scale.
Did I speak the truth? I give that a 10. Holy cow.
1 to 10. It depends what your question is. Are you talking about the debate itself as far as giving statistics? So I would ask you to respectfully, Joey, as far as the debate goes, did I get all my opinions out there? Am I happy with that? Or is it just about winning a debate with debate style? So I need you to be a little bit more specific. I appreciate the question. David says, shout out for Brian for thinking slavery was around the 70s. I never said slavery was around the 70s.
Yeah,
when I said was going back 50 years or 100 years, and I went back in time. I never said, actually, it was Rachel that said slavery was 50 years ago. I didn't say.
No, she did it. It was you. Actually, it was Rachel. Actually, the study said that it was Rachel that said it. So there you go. Yeah, no, you did say 50 years ago slavery. That's what you said. And by the way, 100 years ago, you still would have been wrong with 100 years ago as well.
Slavery was 50 years ago. I never said that slavery was in the 70s or 80s. The point that I was trying to make when I used the 50-year term was, should we be going back 50 to 100 years when it's about technology, for example, or women's rights? I never said slavery happened 50 years ago. So if you're going to be factually accurate, be factually accurate if you're going to criticize me. Chris says, is it just me or does Rachel Wilson look like Andrew Wilson if he was clean shaven and blonde? You know, Chris, you're not the first person to say that. I've had other people say that Rachel, uncanny ability, she looks very similar to Andrew
no one says that
in some ways. So I certainly agree with you. All right. I think we have one more YouTube super chat. Then we'll get to the calls. The Duck says, don't forget Brian didn't know what suffrage is. What would make you think that? What would make you think I didn't know? Suffrage is different than suffering. That's a strange comment. I don't know. I'm not sure what would make.
Suffrage is different than suffering. I don't know what made you think that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone told him after. Maybe it was his manager. And for the last time, Brian. Okay, last thing, Brian. Suffrage does not mean women suffering, you idiot. It means voting rights. That's what that means. Did you not know that, you idiot? Promise me, if you want me to keep being your manager, Brian, you got to stop doing these debates. For the love of God, just stop. All right, just retire. Retire from doing the debates. You could keep doing your radio show all you want because you could pod the people down and you could talk over them. You could much better control the conversation. But just for the love of God, stop doing these debates if you want me to keep being your manager.
You say that. Kiz says you did okay at the start. The debate isn't about tragedies. It was about feminism. To say Rachel is void of empathy because she didn't sympathize with you in a debate is very disingenuous. I like you, dude, but you lost badly. Okay, well, Kiz, guess what? You're entitled to your opinion. And I'm sorry you can't connect the dots as to why I brought that up. I'm trying to humanize the situation. The debate is about feminism. Yes. My whole argument on why there should be equal rights to women and men, one of the main arguments I have, regardless of the way our brains are programmed, regardless of who's stronger, who's smarter, whatever your opinions on that, the whole idea was equal rights for all. Why do I say that? A part of the reason is life is short and we all don't have any guarantees in life. We all go through tragedies. That's the point that I was trying to make. And the fact that you can't connect those dots, my friend, and you can't understand why I brought it up, the reasoning as to why I brought up family tragedy, I feel sorry for you. I really do. I appreciate your contribution to the show, my man, but I completely disagree with you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Ahmed is calling from New York. He wants to also talk about the debate. Ahmed, what's going on?
Going on, Brian? I watched your debate against Rachel Wilson. I disagree with you bringing up.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
See how he says that a lot? Why are you laughing? That's why it should be the name of his book. Why are you laughing? The Brian Shapiro story.
No, I'm sorry that I'm laughing. I disagree when she bring up the point about you said you bring up a study that women said they're not having as much children because of the economy, and what she bring up is that's when we look at the facts, that's it doesn't matter what they say because
it doesn't matter what they say. What do you mean it doesn't matter what they say? So the John Hopkins. So do you know what? Hold on a second. I'll let you talk. Don't worry. Hold on, Ahmed. Just hang on one second.
Finish my sentence.
Okay.
Ahmed.
Okay, Ahmed. I'm just going by what I'm reading off the screen.
Ahmed.
Ahmed. It says AH.
Okay.
It doesn't say H.
Okay. Sorry about that, Ahmed. So the John Hopkins poll that I put out, they did like 7 or 8 different studies, and those polls were out over the course of the last few years. They were all asked women, why have you decided not to have children? The overwhelming majority, and I think it was over 18,000 people that were polled, the overwhelming majority of women, the number one reason they gave is the economy. So why would you start off a sentence by saying it doesn't matter when I'm actually giving you data as to women, why it does matter? Why would you say it doesn't matter, Ahmed?
I was literally, you're asking me a question when I was literally answering. I was still
go ahead.
Why
go ahead.
Saying what I'm interrupting me.
So go ahead.
But yeah, I'll finish my sentence.
Yeah, he does a lot. You know, he's able to control the conversation better when he's on his radio show because he pods them down. In other words, mutes them. He mutes them, and then he talks over everybody. And so, yeah, he'll do that. Like he'll ask you a question, then interrupt as you're answering. It's like, okay, why are you even take calls at this point if you're not going to let the other person talk? Crow like Rufio. Nice. I like that name. Crow like Rufio for the $10. At what point do we stop giving this effing space cadet any kind of clout? I get it. He's a lolcow, but I truly think we need to start giving him any attention. He is a virus. Yeah, maybe you're right, Crow. Maybe you're right. Thank you very much for the 10. J.S. Urban Adventures. Good to see you. I smoked weed with Johnny Hopkins. Nice. Thank you very much, Peter Van Veld, for the £6. Just a little grift money for you. Keep it up. And Brian is an idiot who doesn't understand what he's talking about. I feel bad for him. Hashtag pray for Brian. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, Peter.
That you interrupted me.
Go ahead.
So the reason why is because her rebuttal to your argument was that women who are having more kids tend to be women who are poor. So obviously the economy is not a big factor.
What are you referencing in there? What poll? What study are you would lead you to believe that
I'm
that's
just
true?
telling you what her rebuttal
And
was.
I'm just telling you, what's good of a rebuttal when you don't have a study to back up that opinion?
You want me to give you a source for that?
Do I stutter? What did I just say?
Okay, I'll give you the source.
Okay, from that John Hopkins poll that I gave, where they asked about 18,000 women, and they said it was the economy, of what percentage of those women are poor? And by the way, when I talk about the economy, that is a big factor. Why do you think?
Because it's Trump. But it doesn't matter. Like, if there are more poor people having children than people that have money, what that should tell you is that it's not the economy that's the reason. That it's not because of the lack of money or what have you is the reason. That's the whole point. It doesn't really matter how many. It's just, it should tell, well, I guess it does, but it should tell you that that's not what the factor is, and it's self-reporting. And by the way, if he wants to blame it all on Trump, I mean, well, what about the previous presidents where it's been on a steady decline? Like, Rachel already addressed all this stuff. Again, he's just coming on here and repeating the same things he said during the debates. Like, he hasn't learned anything.
Think so many women are poor as you Google something on your phone? Why do you think so many people are poor right now, Ahmed?
Well, there's many factors.
Give me some of those factors, Ahmed. Why do you think so many people in society and women that don't want to have kids, let's just say you're, hypothetically, let's just say you're right. Let's just say everybody in that study that said they don't want to have kids because of the economy, let's just assume they're all poor. How's the economy doing right now for poor people?
I'm not, this is not.
No, don't stutter. I'm asking you a question. Why?
That's a good point, Chig. Wow. Yeah, Rachel's argument was also that birth rates were low even when the economy was going good. Yeah, that's true. She did say that. So obviously it's not the economy. It's not the economy, stupid. Thank you very much, Single Dad's Club, for the 10, because he's for our entertainment and he puts a spotlight on ignorance and bad faith. That is true. That is true. Thank you very much, Single Dad's Club, for the 10. Yeah, I think we got to show how stupid he is. Like, we got to show, like, this is what the left, this is the representatives of the left, people.
Why do you think? Okay. Don't dodge the question. Don't dodge the question, please. You can laugh. You can think this is funny. Why are so many people poor right now? I'll give you a hint if you need some help.
Yeah, well, there's multiple. There's not a specific reason why somebody's poor.
Name me 3 reasons. Name me 3 reasons.
What?
Yeah, so you could be poor because, you can't, your job is not paying you enough.
Okay, let's stop there one at a time. Ahmed, one at a time. Okay, I'll give you the opportunity to name you. You could be poor because your job isn't paying enough. Can you please tell me how the private sector job growth and wage gap and minimum wage, how's that gone over the course of the last 18 months since Donald Trump took office?
I'm not a Donald Trump.
You're not okay. So I didn't say you were a Donald Trump supporter. I'm trying to make a point with you.
Yeah, see what I mean? So it's happening again where I guess on the radio side, he has these ads, but on our side, we could still hear it. So it's distracting, and now we can't hear what he's saying.
And I think you're struggling to understand. So let's go one at a time. Women are complaining that they're not having kids, and one of the reasons, which by the way, I would agree with you with, one of the reasons is maybe their job doesn't pay enough. The reason is, or one of the reasons is that private sector job growth, the unemployment rate, the fact that Republicans don't want to raise minimum wage, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. So now that we've established, which by the way, I tried to explain to Rachel, who is a Donald Trump supporter. Okay, so give me another factor as we pod you back up. Go ahead. Give me another one.
Yeah, so I would say also another reason why people are making less, right, the wages, is because, by the way, I want to give you my study. You asked me for a source. Let me give you the source.
Okay, give me the second reason. Give me the second reason.
So, I would say the second reason is we have more people in the workforce. So if you look back in the 19.
No, we don't. Yeah, pot him down again. No. The unemployment rate when Joe Biden left office was 4.1%. Do you know what the unemployment rate is now, sir?
Know the exact
the unemployment rate was 4.1. Don't preach to me about unemployment numbers when you don't know what you're talking about. I'll repeat it again. Excuse me. We're talking about unemployment and people that aren't able to work, which I would agree. That's a big part of people who are poor. What was the unemployment rate when Joe Biden left office? What is the unemployment rate now? You don't know.
don't know.
Okay, of course you don't know. I'm going to give you the answer. It's related to Donald Trump, my friend. It's related to the big and beautiful bill. It's related to policy. The unemployment rate was 4.1% when Joe Biden left office. It's hovered anywhere between 4.4 and 4.8% over the course of the last year and a half. So again, I go back to the policies that Rachel Wilson supports and voted for. You said you're not a Trump supporter. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that. Okay, good.
Voted for Joe Biden.
Okay, great. So that's
Get to her policies.
wait. Joe Biden didn't run in 2024. Who
I said Jill Stein.
okay, you voted for Jill Stein. I apologize. I thought you said Joe Biden. Okay, so Jill Stein had a wonderful opportunity to win, so I can totally understand why you would do that. So give me the third reason now. Now that we've established the first two reasons why you believe that women aren't having kids in regards to the economy, give me the third reason now. Give me the third. Go ahead, sir.
My sentence. I can show you.
Give me the third reason, sir. Give me the third reason.
Sorry, guys. I forgot to unmute my mic. Let me reread that super chat again. Let me reread that super chat. Thank you very much, Pro Like Rufio, for the 10. I agree that he spotlights the issue with his freaks, but that was well established already. I just mean, at what point do we put Harry Potter back in the closet and forget he exists? Well, I said that, maybe when he stops being funny, when he stops being entertaining to laugh at, pretty much, then we could put him back in the closet. But thank you very much, Crow, for the 10.
You're so bad faith.
Give me the okay. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. I think you're bad faith. Have a nice day.
I think you're bad faith.
Made my point.
By the way, that guy wasn't even that bad of a caller. Like, that guy wasn't a mega idiot. He even said he's not a Trump supporter. And look at how freaking mad he gets at the caller. It's like, dude, thank you very much, Taylor, for the 5. Brian spent half the debate implying that Rachel was a floozy, but acts like now he was a professional. Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't take all these like personal pot shots at your opponent, like really deeply personal, by the way. It wasn't just like, personal is bad enough, but he was taking deeply personal shots. And then all of a sudden he's like, but I was a professional. I was willing to shake their hand. I was willing to go have dinner with them. It's like, oh, wow, really? Good job. Yeah.
For me, and I appreciate that, Ahmed. I appreciate that very, very much. The number one reason in this John Hopkins poll why women aren't having kids is because of the economy. Yes, I agree with you. A lot of these people are poor. Why? Donald Trump gave the biggest tax breaks to the top 1%. Why? The private sector job growth has been horrible. GDP growth has been horrible. The economy is headed in the wrong direction. This poll was taken in the last 2 years. Point being, a large reason why women aren't having kids are a directive to Donald Trump's policies.
Yeah, but how about before Donald Trump was in office, though? How about that? If it was because of Trump, how come it was still on the decline even before Trump? That's the thing. She brought that up too. He never addressed that. He never did. And now he's back here just doubling down on his points.
Thank you for making my point for me, Rachel Wilson Jr.
Rachel Wilson
That might have been
Jr.
one of Rachel's kids. I don't know. Possibly.
Oh, geez.
702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. All right, let's see here. Let's go to Ryan, who's calling from Pennsylvania. Hello, Ryan. What's up?
Hey, Brian. I wanted to address the short that you made after the debate with the question related to if you wanted to say something nice about the people. I was curious if you took that down because you told Crucible people that you wanted to blow them.
Actually, is that a serious question?
Yes.
Okay, that is. Do you really think I said that? I'm going to see if you're a serious person. So
Sure.
You think that I put out a video saying I want to perform a sex act on the Crucible? You actually think I actually
Yes.
said that? Okay. Well, it goes to show your intelligence, but I'll still answer your very stupid question. So your very stupid question, the answer is no. That was edited and cut. What I said was I would like to blow all the people that are Crucibles a kiss. And then in the actual full video, I did that. And I was trying to trigger people like you. Number two, to answer the first part of your stupid question. So I put out a video that went viral on social media yesterday. As I said, I was the highest trending story for a few hours yesterday in the early morning hours. And I actually took a screenshot of it.
Before he explains that, I was dying when he was like, I didn't say I want to blow them. I said I wanted to blow them a kiss, and then I went, mwah. Like, that makes it any better? Like, honestly, at this point, I don't know which one was gayer. If he would have said he wanted to blow the Crucible fans or the blowing them a kiss. I like that he thinks him explaining that he actually was saying that he wants to blow the Crucible fans a kiss. Like, that was, oh yeah, that's much better. Like, it's still gay, dude. Like, no matter what, it was still gay. Thank you very much, Seagull Dad's Club, for the 10. Crow, these people cancel themselves, but there'll always be another nut job in their place. That's actually true, too. Thank you very much, Single Dad's Club, for the 10.
And I posted it on my Twitter page. On the fastest growing story on Twitter, I got a bunch of text messages from people said, bro, you're the top trending story on Twitter. I said, oh, really? What does it say? It says, Brian Shapiro apologizes to Rachel Wilson. And I posted that, by the way. That's not what I did. The video I put out was full sarcasm. I got warned on.
By the way, he's explaining this like we don't know. We know it's sarcasm. Bro, we didn't post the trending thing on X. X just does that. We didn't post that up there. We all know that you're being sarcastic, you idiot. Like, he has to explain this. Like, I didn't apologize. We know. Thank you very much. Tomahawk for the 5. Why is he entertaining this? Holy moly, this guy is too easy. He really is. It's really easy to trigger this guy, and he admits it in a little bit. But thank you very much, Tomahawk. And thank you very much, Crow Like Rufio, for the 5. Wait, we were getting blowies? Apparently he wanted to blow all of the Crucible fans. Thank you very much, Crow Like Rufio, for the 5.
X to take it down. My account was threatened. And on top of all that, I had threats yesterday of people putting out my address. So I don't apologize for anything I did. The fact that you would call into the show and think that I would actually put out a video saying that I wanted to perform a sex act on idiots like you goes to show that you probably have an extremely low IQ, sir. But thank you so much for your very intelligent question. That is your typical Andrew Wilson supporter. They're not.
Yeah, but here's the video right here. Now, this was clipped, okay? Just putting it out there. This is a joke. He really said this, but it was clipped out of context. He did say he wants to blow us a kiss, which, again, I don't think that makes it any better. But when isolated, this is what it looks like he said.
And I just want to blow all the Crucible fans. And I just want to blow all the Crucible fans. And I just want to blow all the Crucible fans.
So that's the clip he's talking about. Pretty good stuff. Thank you very much. Free from Pukin for the 2. I want my Hummer, but not by him. Yeah, I know, right? It's like, that's very nice of you, Brian, but we politely decline. Thank you very much.
They're not very intelligent people, ladies and gentlemen, if you can connect the dots here. 702. There are actually people that are so triggered by me that they cut up and edit my videos into making it sound like I wanted to perform a sex act on Crucible fans. That's how demented some of these people are. 702-221-7283. All right, let's go to California. Let's go to Dave. Dave wants to talk a little bit about the debate. What's up, Dave?
Hey, Brian, thank you
Sure.
for taking my call. Welcome back, by the way.
Thank you.
You know, that guy's from Florida. You know that, right? He's from Florida. He just changes his name all the time.
Who's from Florida? Help me out.
Well, that one guy that always changes, the one that unemployed or whatever the hell his name is, I forgot, but he always calls all the time. He's boring. So, boring caller.
I get some of those from time to time.
Thank you very much, Janet Ferguson, for being a member for a month. Brian Shapiro's King, double douche of the kingdom, douchetopia. Thank you very much, Jana. And also good to see you, Avarice, Evil Rice, Rob Raid incoming. Yeah, good to see you. Are you guys in here yet? I'll say hi when you guys get in here.
So, you know, I watch your debates with Piers Morgan.
Yes, sir.
You know, fantastic.
Thank you. I'm going to play that a little bit. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, that was just fantastic. You let him have it. I love it at the end when you told him exactly how you told me like exactly how you felt. He didn't know what to say. It was terrible. But other than that, it just, you know, I'm sorry to hear, you know, about your family member and all that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think you did a great job. But you know something, man, I'm glad you're on the air. And you remind me of the KGO News Talk 810 in San Francisco. You're the uncompromised radio station, and I just wanted to call you, let you know, welcome back. And
well, Dave, that's really nice of you, my man, and I really do appreciate that. I know there's good people out there like you It's what keeps me going. You know what else keeps me going? The trolls. They help my engagement. Why do you think I got on all these national networks and I do all these national shows on a regular basis? Is it just because of my fans? That's a part of the reason, and I'm very grateful. It's also for the people that hate me. They help my career.
Welcome all the Norons, all the Rob Nor fans. Thank you very much, Rob, for the raid. We are just watching the Brian Shapiro cope stream. Yes, Brian Shapiro coped hard after his humiliating debate loss to Rachel Wilson, and it's been pretty freaking hilarious. So here we go. Thank you very much once again to the great Rob Nor. Also, sorry that to all the Rob Nor fans that you have to see Rob's essay right here on your screen.
It's why I got paid to go out there to North Carolina. You think if I was really sweet and nice to Andrew Wilson and his wife, I would have been paid to go out there and debate them? By the way, why is Rachel not debating a bunch of 40 and 50-year-old professional women that are nurses and lawyers? No, they decided to debate me. Think about that.
What a self-owned by Brian right there. They could be debating all these smart people. Instead, they chose to debate me. What does that say about them? Yeah, I mean, I guess you got them there, Brian. You're right about that. But in all seriousness, they're open to debating anybody. That's the thing. They'll debate anybody. It doesn't matter if they're a lawyer or a nurse or even a simpleton like you, Brian. They'll debate anybody.
202-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Gio. Gio is calling from Florida, I believe, wants to talk about the debate. Hello, Gio.
Oh.
Hey, Brian. How's it going? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, what's up?
So this is Geoverse TV. Yeah, Geoverse TV. He was on the last panel that I had. He's a fan of the channel, and also I think he has his own YouTube channel. So I actually recognized him when he called. I recognized his voice at first. Then he said his name was Geo, and I was like, "Hey, man, was that you?" And he's like, "Yeah." So this is Geoverse TV right here.
Up, man.
Oh yeah, huge fan of the debate space, and like you know, I go on many channels, many different cultures and behaviors. What I like about you is that you try your best to be consistent, even when you admit that you're not, right? So my question to you is, I've heard a few times a caller has called in, and you've been very passionate, and the age wasn't really a factor. And then last night you also said the words "baby daddy," I believe, and you mentioned the number of baby daddies that Ms. Wilson had. And my question is it a good look, your approach to male feminists like us, to adapt because we have to, or is it just a point of bad judgment that you seem to be a bit misogynistic?
You think how am I misogynistic? Because I use the term baby daddies? You think that's misogynistic?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, there's...
What do you think I said that's borderline? So what I said, I'll give you an example, okay, sir? And I'm sorry, what was your name again? I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Gio?
Well, my name is Heovani, but you can call me Gio.
Okay, Gio. Well, that's easier. So for example, when I say, Rachel, go make Andrew a sandwich, I'm mocking Andrew, as I've said time and time again, because I believe I'm going to talk to you like your husband talks to you, in mocking the fact that they think it's okay for men to talk to women that way. In my personal life, I would never talk to a woman that way.
Sure.
Now I've said some very honest, and some people might think not so nice things about Rachel, but here's the difference. Here's why it's not misogyny. It has nothing to do with the fact that
here's why it's okay when I do it. All right, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here's why it is okay when Bryce Shap does it.
She's a woman. It has to do with the fact that I think she's a miserable human being. Do you understand? You see the difference?
Yeah. You know what? Now that you say it like that, I do. But is Rachel the only woman that you've been a bit extra
I treat women and men the same. If I think they're bad people and they're calling me names, I'm going to call them names. If I think they're misogynist, I'm going to call them misogynist. If they think they're horrible human beings, I'm going to call them disgusting human beings. That has nothing to do with what's between their legs. It has nothing to do. Let me be very clear. I think of Rachel the same way I think of Andrew. I think they're despicable human beings. And that has nothing to do with gender. Misogyny to me is you're treating somebody differently because of their gender. I don't do that. If I call somebody a name, it's because I think they're a horrible human being, not because of their gender. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I actually read a new word, and it's called a politicist, someone that treats you differently only because of who you voted for. If we quantify that and we separate America just based on who you vote for or what side of the story you choose to believe, Is that a good way to bring unity to our country, Mr.
I
Shapiro?
think there's a lot of way to bring. You could call me Brian, by the way. I don't think anybody calls me Mr. Shapiro, but I appreciate
They usually call me ma'am or Mrs. or Miss Shapiro.
that. I think there's a lot of ways that we can come together. And I can be completely honest with you. I tried to do that in the debate the other day before the debate even started. I asked the organizers, I said, hey, I'd love to shake their hands. They can come in here. I'm happy to have a quick, cordial conversation with them. They declined. Even after the debate, I would have shook their hands, even though I think they're horrible people. I would have been professional. I would have sat there and I would have done my job and I would have been cordial to everybody, even after.
See, I don't know what argument he's trying to make here, because he's trying to say, look, I would have been civil, I would have been cordial, blah, 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 like trying to paint himself as this civil, good guy. But he's already admitted several times that he would have only done that because he was being paid. It's like you can't make that argument like, I've been willing to be civil and cordial with him if you're already admitted that, yeah, only because you're being paid to do so. You can't keep saying that.
After the debate, everybody in there were Crucible fans. For the people that wanted to shake my hands, for the people that wanted to take pictures with me, I was cordial to every single one of them. I want to bring people together.
Yeah.
I want people to have good civil discourse. Yes. Sometimes you.
Yeah, the guy that calls us Trump mushroom gobblers and such. Yeah, he wants to bring people together. Brian Shapiro, the great unifier. Brian Shapiro. Thank you very much, Angela, for the 5. I'm at an hour and 15 minutes, 22 seconds. Brian is such a D-bag. Yeah, pretty much. You could have discovered that at, right at the beginning as well. But thank you very much, Angela. And see you when you get to this point.
Could make the argument I could be a little bit too aggressive with people. Yes, sometimes you can make the argument when stupid people call into this show, I call them names. Yes, you can make the argument. On X, I'll be completely honest with you.
And see, the thing is, too, is that these lefties, they always justify their poor behavior. Like if they insult us, make personal attacks on us, well, it's because we're stupid and we're idiots or we're despicable people. We're terrible people. Therefore, it's justified. And then they wonder why we call them violent. It's like, look how you justify the horrible things you say or do to us. You justify it by calling us idiots or morons or Nazis or this, and that. That's how you justify it to yourselves. So, yeah, but they all do that. They're always like, well, if I think you're being an idiot or if I think you're stupid, then I could do this or that.
I enjoy myself just trolling MAGA. That's all I do on X because it's 95% MAGA, and they trigger me by editing videos and making memes about me and making cartoons about me. And I enjoy it.
Right.
I think it's funny. So if you want to say,
did you see? I think he slipped right there. I think that was a Freudian slip. Did you hear that? And they trigger me. And they trigger me by making the cartoons and the skits and whatnot. See, let's go back a little bit.
Stupid people call into this show, I call them names. Yes, you can make the argument. On X, I'll be completely honest with you. I enjoy myself just trolling MAGA. That's all I do on X because it's 95% MAGA, and they trigger me by editing videos.
See, he said it. They trigger me. So I think he slipped right there.
And making memes about me and making cartoons about me. And I enjoy it.
Right.
I think it's funny. So if you want to say from that aspect, I'm part of the problem, I guess I'll take that criticism. But the point being, I am an equal opportunity offender. I don't care what your gender is. And I'm being completely honest with you and transparent. I don't care whether you're a woman or a man. I'm going to treat you the same.
Right. Well, I definitely don't want to take up too much of your time.
Yeah, but the thing is, you make it gender specific. It's not like you call, you just call women jerks and you call men jerks or whatever. You're very gender specific. You kept telling Rachel to go and make Andrew a sandwich. That's very gender specific. You're telling her that because she's a woman. So your justification there doesn't even make any sense. It's flawed because you're like, well, I'm not saying it because misogyny is when it's because they're a woman. Okay, well, that insult is because she's a woman. So that's very gender specific. Thank you very much. This is not the accounts you are. This is not the account you are for the $9.99. Brian sets the woman suffer movement back to 1960. Yeah, he does. Thank you very much. Apparently when slavery was still around. Crow, like Rufio for the 10. I want to have civil discourse until you make a valid point. Then yeah, exactly. 100% Crow. Thank you very much.
I'm sure you have a lot of calls coming in.
It's fair questions. It's fair questions you've asked me.
Can you at least affirm, just for the community that I belong to, the Baby Daddies of America, Can you just say to all of us that
I didn't know that was. I didn't know that was an
any ill will
organization.
toward baby daddies. So if you are a single father, Brian doesn't find you
Let me be.
lesser than valuable.
Let me be
Go ahead.
even more clear. For everybody that has baby daddies, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The only reason why you understand.
Well, only women could have baby daddies. Men can't have baby daddies. That's not a thing.
And why
baby daddy.
you understand why I brought it up with Rachel, right?
Yeah, but we don't really care about baby mamas. I represent.
Well, I don't
daddies,
feel that
so
way.
you can be
Okay, well, I don't.
specific.
I appreciate the call, but I really don't feel that way. I don't care whether you're a baby mama or a baby daddy. It's not my business. You're allowed to do that. I'm not going to judge you on it. The only reason why I brought up Rachel is because of the hypocrisy. Let's see. Somebody told me Rachel's in the chat box.
Thank you very much. Far from puking for the 5. Equal opportunity offender doesn't get universal suffrage debate. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, Nate, for the 5. Catching up from the start, Rachel should have invited him to join the free world of women and uncover his head. Yeah, seriously. Thank you very much, Nate. Marte, Vic, I'm debating a famous liberal comedian that looks like him soon. Both not funny. I can't wait to see that, Marte. I'm sure you're going to destroy him.
By the way, I don't even know if that's true or not. I don't have time to look at the chat. My producer does. But let's go to Patrick, who is calling from Las Vegas, I believe, who also wants to talk about the debate. Hello.
Yeah, that would have been great if Rachel called in.
Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Brian. Congratulations. I find it quite interesting that you're patting yourself on the back for going viral on Twitter for posting a video that you ended up deleting.
Yeah.
And the title of that.
What do you mean I'm patting myself? What do you mean I'm patting myself on the back?
If you look at the thing you posted on
Patrick, the
your website or your Twitter,
I didn't post it on my website. I didn't post it on my website.
On your Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
on my
Twitter.
X, yeah. Let's try to be factually accurate.
And then he questions everything, so it's like obviously he's being facetious here. Like he's like, "Oh, you're patting yourself on the back for this." When did I pat myself on the back? Can you show me the clip where I literally patted myself on the back, sir? Please. Thank you very much, Avarice, for the 5. Avarice checking in. Well, thank you very much for checking in, Avarice. Good to see you, brother. Thank you very much for the 5.
Patrick, I already gave that explanation. What about my explanation do you Patrick, what about my explanation do you disagree with? What because I've already explained this to one caller. I don't want to explain it to you because you don't understand it. So I'd like to move on the conversation. We already had a caller who asked me about it. I gave my explanation, so let's move on.
So you're bragging about losing a debate and posting an apology.
Where did I brag about losing a debate? I never said I lost a debate. I don't know what you're talking about. You just said I'm bragging about losing a debate. Never did I say on this show that it was my personal opinion that I lost a debate. So now you're.
What he meant is that you lost the debate, but you're bragging as if you won. That's what he meant to say. And I think, see, it's hard to tell. Is Brian either this stupid or is he trying to not understand so he could try to make the caller look stupid? Because it could go either or. Thank you very much, Crow, for the 5. Need to get a new tag trending hashtag free Brian's manager. Yeah, seriously. Thank you very much for the 5.
0 for 2. Let's try this again, Patrick. Is there anything productive that you'd like to talk about? I didn't post anything to my website, and I never said that I lost a debate. Where did I say I lost a debate, Patrick? As we pod you back up, can you please tell me where did I say I lost the debate? Help me understand.
Yeah, if you go.
Where did I say I lost?
On your X account, where it says that you went viral. And
did I say that? Did I say it?
No, but you're.
Oh, wait a second. You just.
Yeah, I did see the sweater, Avarice. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. I dug it.
Says you lost a debate.
Right, but you just said I said, Patrick. I posted it because I posted a lot. So Patrick, are you going to let me answer?
It would have been great if James, when Brian was interrupting during when Rachel's opener, if James would have been like, pod him down, pod down, Brian. That would have been so sweet.
So first of all, you just said I'm bragging about losing a debate. Now that conversation has shifted to it's what
viral
Patrick, you got to let me finish with this. Patrick, if you interrupt me one more time, I'm going to hang up on you. I'm answering your question. Please be quiet. I'm trying to be respectful. Be quiet and let me answer. First of all, to correct you again, I never said I lost the debate. Number 2, I thought it was really funny. Clearly you don't. I take humor in the fact that Grok, I guess, comes up with, or AI, I should say, comes up with why I was trending because a video went viral, Patrick, and the wording of it was incorrect. First of all, the AI said that I lost the debate because a lot of people that are Rachel Wilson, Andrew Wilson psycho fans were saying I lost the debate with large social media platforms. I never said I lost the debate. Am I in the Twilight Zone today? Are people this stupid? Yes. They're Andrew Wilson and Rachel Wilson fans, so they must be stupid. Let's go to Adam. Or no, let's see. Who am I going to first? Let's go to Adam. Adam is calling from Alabama. Hi, Adam. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going, Ron?
What's up, man?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about the debate. You were talking about how it's, provides relatability and humanizing the conversation.
At the end, I
But
would say
you-
sure.
Yeah, which is what I'm talking about, is just the closing. But do you not think that some people don't want to talk about their trauma without it being on their terms too?
Well, there's a lot of things that we talked about in the debate that I didn't want to talk about, but I still did it because it was part of.
Yeah, was it personal, Brian? Was it something personal, or was it just a topic you're getting destroyed in? Hank Panther, when does he do his stupid show? It's from 12 to 2, Mondays through Fridays. 12 to 2 Pacific time.
The debate, and she brought up certain topics that I was not interested in talking about. Sometimes in a debate, I really don't care if Rachel didn't want to talk about it. By the way, where did I say she had to talk about it? It was my decision to bring it up. I didn't say she had to talk about it. She has the right to talk about whatever she wants to talk about, right? I think you would agree with me. And I never have I ever said that she had to talk about anything, right? That was her right. That was her right. Here's my point. The point that I was trying to make was, and the reason why I was bringing it up, which I think you would understand, was to show empathy and to say we all go through tragedies in our life. And then I brought up mine. I found it a little odd.
Like the left have really made me hate that word empathy. Like they always use it. They always use it in a way that they think they are the only ones that have empathy. It's like you could be debating with them like about immigration. They're like, well, I have empathy, and that's why I don't think the illegals should be sent back, because I am an empath and I have empathy. And it's so like infuriating and so condescending because they act like we don't have empathy. Like, for instance, let's say, right? They're like, well, I have empathy for the woman, and I think the woman should have control over her body because I have empathy. And they say that as if we don't have empathy, like if we're not doing it for good reasons. Like it's not because we want to save babies or anything. No, it's because we don't have empathy. We just hate women. And it's just so insulting, these people. They're so insufferable.
The fact that she struggles with empathy, that she couldn't even respond to some of the stuff that happened in my life. I'm not saying she had to, but I think it goes to show her lack of character. That's really it.
Oh, okay. All right. So
does that make sense?
I hear you. Yeah, it does. But earlier in the stream, you also said though that everyone has a story, right? But which I completely agree with you, and I understand the compassion, right? But there's also that compassion piece that goes to where they also deserve that compassion too. So their story to share only works when they want to talk about it as well, not when you want to talk about it too. Does that make sense to you?
Say that one more time. Repeat that one more time for me, please, so I understand what you're saying.
So when, so you talked about everyone having stories to share, right?
I didn't say everybody has. I didn't say they have it to share. I said everybody has a sad story. I didn't say everybody has stories to share. Some people are private people. By the way, I learned this story through Andrew.
Like, see, now he's starting to argue over every single thing. So the person says, well, you said everyone has their story. I didn't say they had their story to share. I said everybody has a story. Okay, Brian, you get what he's saying. It's pretty much a similar thing right here. Now who's playing the word games all of a sudden here? By the way, great thumbnail right here. Great screen grab right here. What's the timestamp on this? 2:37. Let me write that down. I got a good picture for the thumbnail now. 2:37. Bry Shap thumb.
Andrew Wilson, because he's the one who talked about the story publicly. If you don't want people knowing about the story, then maybe you shouldn't talk about it on huge podcasts.
But would you agree, though, that if it's not the time and the place, then that's really up
disagree.
To
I'd say it couldn't be more. I disagree. I'd say it couldn't be more the time and the place. And I'll repeat it one more time. And whether you understand or not, regardless, we are talking about women's rights. The woman who I am debating does not. She wants to take away your basic human rights. Example, to
basic
vote.
Human rights. Voting is a basic human right. Huh? Can you demonstrate that, Brian? Well, it just is. But why? How is it a basic human right? because I feel it is. All right, thank you very much, Angela, for the 5. I'm watching Hulk Rachel throw low-key Brian around like a rag doll. Yeah. Thank you very much, Angel. Yeah. Basic human rights. Yeah. It's basic human rights. Voting. Huh? Voting is a basic human right? What?
My point is everyone has a different path in life. Some people go through horrible tragedies. And
yeah, that's a good point, podcast lover. Yeah. So can I bring up his grandma and his show every time? Yeah, I know, right? So I guess we could just bring it up every time now too, huh?
And, whether they overcome or not, which I hope they do overcome, I don't want to tell other people what to do because life is short and life is precious. If anybody on their side has a problem with me bringing that up, then they can go screw themselves. I really don't care. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. David is calling from Pennsylvania. Hello, David.
Oh, hey, Brian. So in regards to your debate with Rachel,
Andrew literally talked about it on a podcast because someone threatened to put the information out, so he got ahead of it using that as demonic. It really is demonic. It really is. Thank you very much, Crow, for the 5.
Maybe you already addressed this. I'm not sure if you did or not. But I wanted to ask you why, I think it was maybe the day or so after the debate, or maybe later that night, you tweeted out a video talking about...
Yeah, I already answered that. David, I addressed that. David, I'm not going to address it again. I'm happy to ask you that. I'm not going to keep repeating myself over again. And I addressed that.
You deleted it, correct?
I addressed that earlier, and I addressed why I deleted it. David, I addressed that earlier. David, well, that's not my fault. That's not my fault. So if you'd like to talk about something else,
talk about it.
David, I did talk about it, and I gave my entire answer as to why I did it. The problem is I'm not going to answer the same question 10 times in the same show. So if you have something else you'd like to ask me about, I'm happy to do it, David. I'm not going to waste time. There's a lot of people on hold. So please go ahead.
You don't want to be pressed on it. That's fine.
Okay. David, listen, man, I can only say it so many times. I'll even repeat it for David again. I was the largest story on Twitter. I didn't like what the title said because it referenced that I was apologizing to Rachel for losing the debate. I did not do that. I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that I was the highest trending story for the wrong reasons. That is the main reason why I did it, David. And I've now answered that question 5 times. Let's go to Serge. Sarge is calling from where? Chicago. What's up, Sarge?
From Chicago. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Sarge.
First Serge, first Ahmed, and now Serge.
I got one question for you. Why in the world are you feeling apologize in sympathy for those Republican voters? They look like a scorpion. You don't feel sorry for them. Don't apologize for them.
Well, Sarge,
just tell them.
Sarge,
get over it and get used to it.
Sarge, I'm not apologizing. I haven't apologized to anybody on the right. All I was doing, Sarge, was I felt bad for the fact that her family had to go through this tragedy. That's where my empathy came in. I would say that about anybody who goes through the loss of losing a 10-year-old in a car accident. I can't imagine how painful that must have been for her and her family. That was why I was feeling empathy. I wasn't apologizing for anything.
I understand that, but those people, they don't show sympathy for nobody. They don't show sympathy for the lady she got in Minnesota. Both those people, they don't show sympathy. They don't use.
Sarge, you're onto something. Sarge, I completely 100% agree with you. I think
because that guy was Serge. He was just spurging out over Republicans, saying Republicans bad. Let's skip ahead a little bit here.
The purpose of professional debate, it's to foster critical thinking, persuade audiences, and rigorously test arguments.
Yeah, well, I disagree with that. That's not my reasoning for why I went out there. So, I mean, I understand that's a basic definition of what a debate is.
Huh? I disagree. See, it's just all about how he feels about it. Well, I disagree with it, therefore you're wrong. Huh? How is this like... How does that make any sense? Like, that guy was making perfectly reasonable arguments.
All good.
No worries. Hey, I just wanted to ask, because you asked me to kind of expand. You wanted me to expand. I'm the guy that did the super chat about asking, from 1 to 10.
Yeah. So he went to the debate, not to debate. Yeah.
How do you feel about your performance?
Well, he keeps coping and saying, I don't go to convince anybody. I'm not trying to convince anybody. Well, then what the are you debating for if you're not trying to convince anybody?
Right.
So the purpose of professional debate, it's to foster critical thinking,
persuade audiences and rigorously test arguments.
Yeah, well, I disagree with that. That's not my reasoning for why I went out there. So, I mean, I understand that's a basic definition of what a debate is. I get it, what you're saying, Joey, but that's not me. That's not who I am. I'm not trying to convince anybody. And by the way, I said that in other debates when I debated Dyer. Let me be very clear. There is nobody in that crowd that I could have convinced anything differently. They're psycho fans and they're,
Well,
I'm
there
sorry.
are people that are watching, though.
Okay,
People
the
that are
people that were watching on Modern Day Debate and the people that were watching on Uncensored America are all Myron Gaines, Andrew Wilson fans. I'm giving you my personal.
I had my mom. No,
He also has Myron Gaines derangement syndrome too. He brings up Myron Gaines a few times.
No.
Okay,
People
the
that are
people that were watching on Modern Day Debate and the people that were watching on Uncensored America are all Myron Gaines, Andrew Wilson fans. I'm giving you my personal.
I had my mom. No, I had my mom.
I'm glad your mom watched. That's great. As a whole, my friend, I would say that. And I'm just giving you my personal opinion on my approach when I have discussions with anybody, debate, argument, whatever you want to call it. I'm not trying to change anybody's minds. Now, if people call into the show and they say, hey, Brian, and it happens from time to time, I shouldn't have voted for Donald Trump. I made a mistake. I listened to your show. Okay, great. That's great. But I'm not trying to change anybody's minds. Here's what I'm trying to do. I'm giving you my point of view, my opinions. You make your own choices and your own opinions. I was never going to change the Wilson's mind, and I was never going to change anybody's mind in that crowd. That's just my personal opinion, Joey, and we will have to agree to disagree on that.
Well,
I mean, yeah, it's true. You weren't going to change anybody's minds. That is true, but not because that wasn't your goal. It's just because you know you can't. So this is coping. Like, well, I don't go. It's like the people that are just like, well, I'm just doing this for fun. I'm not doing this to make money. I'm just doing this for fun. That's what Brian's doing. He's coping by saying, well, I'm not going in there to change anybody's minds. I'm not doing that. I'm doing it for fun.
Can I just do a follow up? Like, I know
Sure.
you're making your own I know you're making up your own definition of what debate is. I'm asking you, like, with the definition that's already available, how well do you think you perform?
So you're asking me a question going against my beliefs and what my objectives were? That's a little bit unfair, don't you think? I thought I did fine.
No, I'm.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll answer that. I'll answer that.
Yeah, it has nothing to do.
So I'll answer that. I'll answer that. I'll answer that. There's a reason why, and I'll answer it honestly. There's a reason why a lot of people on the left refuse to debate the Wilsons or be in these types of environments. Under the circumstances, hold on. Do you want me to answer, or do you want to answer for me?
Yeah, it's because they usually lose. That's why. Sycophants or psychophants, which one is he trying to say? Yeah, I talked about this earlier. I don't know which one he's trying to say. I don't know if he's trying to say sycophants or psychophants. It's really hard to tell. He thought women's suffrage meant women suffering. So it's hard to tell.
I can answer, right? Is that okay? Thank you.
Yeah,
when you have everybody in the crowd, and I mean everybody that is against me, before I say one word, when you have everybody, including the moderator, who once muted my microphone, even though she...
Where were your supporters?
Are you going to let me... Again, you've interrupted me twice now, and I'm trying to answer your question, so that's really all you get. I'm going to finish without you interrupting me. Nobody on the left, in my estimation, has an association with Modern Day Debate or an association with Uncensored America. The two groups of people that are associated with Uncensored America are a Holocaust denier, anti-Semite, his name is Myron Gaines, and a bunch of misogynist pigs known as the Wilsons. There's a reason why a lot of people on the left don't want to be associated with these organizations. So to answer your question, under the circumstances where everybody there was against me since the second the debate started, I thought I did pretty good under the circumstances. As we go back to
Cope. All right, guys. It's pretty late. I'm getting pretty tired. So I'm just going to say this. The rest of the show, he takes more phone calls. And it's pretty much the same thing like you've been watching. He doesn't really reveal anything new. It's just more cope. Most of the people that call in are either against him. There's maybe one or two more people that like are fans of his, but the rest of them are either against him or maybe more neutral or more fair. But according to Brian, being neutral or fair, you're against him then, and he goes off. So if you want to watch the rest of this, I'll have a link down in the description down below. But give your thoughts on it in the comment section. Subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already. And I'll see you guys later. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, did you enjoy that video? I hope you did. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe, or else you're gay. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. I'm just trying to save you from sin. Also, make sure you catch the Cool Stream live Mondays through Fridays right here on my YouTube channel. And make sure you follow me at any of these links down below for everything Cool Vic.